Sixers.
Bang! It's good! Ball game!
And Flyers.
Tipped in front of the net!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Finally!
This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity.
Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Josh Hennig.
Hanging with Hennig, broadcasting live here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle, streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. We took a hiatus last week. I'm sure Billy Schwein loved the fact that I did not come in the studio last week, so he didn't have to be bothered after his show. But we are back. We are rocking and rolling. Alex Berardis is back with me in the studio. Alex, how you doing today?
The weather's warming up, and I couldn't be happier. It might as well be 70 degrees out today compared to how bad it's been for the past few weeks, but I couldn't be happier to be back here on Hanging with Hennig.
Well, I'm sure today is a day you're going to love because we got hockey to talk about. We got WWE Elimination Chamber to talk about. We got Eagles in the NFL to talk about. Also, don't forget our presenting sponsor for today's show is Boxing Insider Promotions, which are the Tropicana showroom in Atlantic City. We've been talking about it all month long, and we got not one but two fighters joining the show today. Holy Spirit High School graduate Josh Popper, undefeated heavyweight, will join us at 1 p.m. At 2 p.m., we will hear from Pleasantville High School graduate Julio Sanchez III. They will both be in action next Saturday, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. And if you want to win tickets, I got two different tickets to give away today. 609-403-0973. That is the text board. 609-403-0973. If you want to win tickets to either the boxing event next Saturday or I have MAC basketball championship tickets to give away. If you want to win either one, you got to join the conversation, okay? Eagles, NFL, Flyers, NHL, WWE Elimination Chamber, Sixers. You want to really ruin the pot and jump in with some Phillies conversation when they're in spring training? Go right for it. But we want you to be involved. And then, part of the conversation, leave your name, where you're from, and what you want to win. And you are in for the running. Again, we got tickets for Boxing Insider Promotions event, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City next Saturday, and for MAC Championship Game tickets. The fights are next Saturday. The championship game is 3 days later. So we got you covered all day. Come hang with Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press will join us coming up at 12:25. Scott Laughlin from SiriusXM Radio will join us at 1:25 as well. And we'll get to your texts throughout the show at 609-403-0973. But we do got to start with the NFL, Alex, because there was some bad news for Philadelphia this week. It's not what you think I'm going to say. That boy from Oregon basically made himself unreachable for Philadelphia. Sadiq, the tight end of Oregon, the guy that everyone keeps projecting in their mock drafts to go to Philadelphia, he just set the all-time combine record for fastest and highest jumping tight end in the 25-plus years of the combine. So this dream that people had that we're going to get Sadiq, we're going to get the replacement for Dallas Goedert, it has been thrown out the window. Now, I'm not saying you still can't get a good tight end. This is actually a pretty good tight end draft class. But this is an example of why Howie Roseman said what he said this week. Howie Roseman made it very clear that they are not trying to trade away great players. We're talking about A.J. Brown. But he said as a general principle as well. He was talking about big picture, that the Philadelphia Eagles are trying to win a championship. Part of winning a championship is letting the offseason play out. And the reality is that if you are a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you have to go by the motto of "in Howie we trust." Is Howie always right? No, of course he's not. No one's always right, okay? That would be silly. But Howie always tries to rectify every problem. He said this week in his 20 million media interviews he did, he said, we got to improve the cornerback position. He said it to the media. There's things on the offensive side of the ball that we got to tighten up. We got to give our new coordinator, Sean Mannion, the tools to be successful. Of course, then he kind of threw, Patullo under the bus when he said that, Mannion is bringing an offense is a better fit for their players. So read into that what you will. But still, the point is that the Eagles are moving forward in a world where they are letting everything play out. And part of letting play out is what you saw at the Combine this week. You seeing guys going to rise up the charts, okay? Snyder, the linebacker from Ohio State. Caleb Downs, Caleb Downs might be the number 2 overall pick in the draft. I think about how crazy that is. So, Alex, when you look at the Eagles right now, I am not going to get too worried what happens on February 28th, what is said on February 26th, what is done before we turn to March, because 2 weeks from now, when we are hot and heavy in free agency here on 97.3 ESPN, it is going to be Howie season full tilt.
You're 100% right. I have always been in the boat of, in Howie we trust. He started out, wasn't so great. Now look where he's at. Look what he's built.
What is it, Toby Keith song?
Possibly. Wasn't even thinking about that, but good shout on you. Look, Sadiq, I would love for him to fall. Don't see it happening. But that, I think, might have to do something with what we were talking about a few weeks ago here on the show. It was interesting that usually with, Zach Ertz getting drafted for Brent Selleck, then Dallas Goedert was getting drafted for him, there was always seemed to be a guy lined up and waiting at the tight end position for the Eagles. Grant Calcaterra ain't that guy.
No.
Sorry, Grant, but you're just not. So, yeah, like as you said, this is a great tight end class. There's a bunch of great talent that the Eagles can take advantage of. But I do think in this draft, I'm going all in on the O-line if I'm the Eagles. Now, if Sadiq's there, I'm taking him because I think he's that special of a talent. But with how banged up the O-line was last year, and Lane Johnson, this is most likely going to be his last year in the NFL.
Correct.
Landon Dickerson could also be his last year in the NFL as well. Like, it was so banged up. We saw the difference from the Super Bowl year to where they had that depth. All of their guys were healthy. They were all playing at a high level compared to last year. I think the offensive line in the draft has to be addressed this year. And now it's going to be interesting because this is going to be our first, training camp and rookie camp and all things like that without Jeff Stoutland in a long time. But you still have to make those picks. And I think for the Eagles, if they can go back to who they've been for so long with the beefed up offensive line, I think they could be great going forward.
And listen, you talked about getting replacements on the offensive line. This is also considered a deep. For those who don't know, the 3 positions that this draft is supposed to be the best of: wide receiver, tight end, offensive line. Well, you could make an argument that you probably need all 3, right? So, to me, and listen, I also understand you're not going to get top of the rung, okay? There's no scenario where Spencer Fanow is going to fall to you, okay? That guy's going to be a top 5 pick. But, there are other guys in this draft, and Howie Roseman has shown an ability, for whatever reason, Howie Roseman is really good at drafting offensive linemen, okay? I don't know what that says about the Eagles, but he's way better at that than drafting wide receivers. So, so whether it's a guy like Caleb Lomu from Utah, a Caden Proctor from Alabama, a Monroe Freeling from Georgia, there's guys in this draft. Again, those are tackles, okay? I would make an argument that the unsexy thing to do is go get a guard in this draft because I'm not a fan of Tyler Steen. I think Tyler Steen might be the weakest link on this offensive line. So to me, if there was a way that you can get Chase Bizonitis, I would love to get a guy like that or Kalen Rutledge on the O-line because you need more beef on that O-line. You got to protect Cam Jurgens. Alex, how many years did Eagle fans see Jason Kelsey be sandwiched between 2 beasts, right? For
the
years,
entire time.
Right. It was Brandon Brooks for a while, Isaac Seumalo. We have Lander Dickerson right now. And even Cam Jurgens' first year, he was at right guard. Now, dream scenario, probably not going to happen. I would love Tyler Linderbaum to be signed by the Eagles and then kick Jurgens to guard. But that's living in the dreamscape. But you know what? The salary cap did go up $22 million this week. They announced that. They're up to $301.2 million is the NFL salary cap. So maybe the Eagles can afford Tyler Linderbaum. I don't know. But still, they got to do something about the offensive line. Because as you said, Lane Johnson's last year, number one. Number two, you were so injured last year. And whether people like it or not, part of the reason why Jeff Stoutland is not here is because he decided that they were good enough with Brett Toth and Matt Pryor as backup O-linemen. And, well, that was the wrong decision. So, you know what? And listen, I know a lot of people have been talking a lot of smack about the Stoutland thing. Can I just clarify something? Hey, national media, Jeff Stoutland was not fired, okay? The Eagles offered for him to stay, and they decided, okay, well, if you don't want to be here, we're going to move on, right? To me, it's a pretty simple scenario, right? Hey, Alex, I'm going to offer you a job. You want the job? Not really. Okay, Alex, thanks for being here. We're going to move on. It's not rocket science, okay?
Happens all the time.
It happens all the time. And by the way, people are acting like this guy Chris Cooper is like a nobody. This dude played almost 10 years in the NFL as an offensive starting guard. So now you got a completely different coach, yes, but you get a guy who maybe he's better, Alex, at helping these guys get to the next level. Maybe Stoutland got them to a certain level. Maybe Stoutland got them, it's like playing back in the day with video games. You have levels and everything. And it's like, maybe you need a certain power up to get to the next level to beat the big boss, right? Mm-hmm. So the idea is that, maybe Chris Cooper is the next power up. Maybe he's the next tier. Now you're bringing in a guy, because you know what? Jeff Stoutland never played offensive line in the NFL. Jeff Stoutland didn't start 79 games in the NFL. Jeff Stoutland, does not have that in his background. Was he a great teacher? Yes. But you know what? Jordan Mailata regressed last year. We all can agree on that, right? So maybe Jordan Mailata needs a new voice. And if Lane Johnson is so willing to come back, he'd be like, yeah, I'll be part of this new coaching staff. I don't see why the rest of the guys won't fall in line.
See, that's why I'm wondering if a tackle is the spot to go at in this draft because of Lane Johnson. I would love for a first-round tackle to sit behind Lane Johnson and probably play at some point, because if I have to put money on it, I would say Lane's going to miss a game or two at some point this year. So why not get a first-round level tackle like a Proctor from Alabama, just a behemoth of a guy, and just like Lane coach him up, one of the greatest tackles of all time. But now you could also say wait a little bit so then Lane can develop, a later round pick and then get the first-round guard. I think that's just based on preference. I would like to go with the tackle so you can just keep your edges safe for your quarterback and just blindside. But, yeah, honestly, as long as they go offensive line anywhere, I'm fine.
And the great thing about Proctor is that what I like about him, aside from the fact that Billy Schwein will love him, because big guys beat up on little guys, and Jordan Proctor. Well, I think you can say Jordan Proctor, Billy. Proctor's pretty easy, right? Proctor and Gamble, right? But Proctor, he could also play guard. So you could have a scenario where you have him starting next to Lane Johnson at guard, right? And then have him play right guard for a year or two. And then when Lane retires, just kick him out the right tackle. I don't see something wrong with that, because you know what? Again, I look at Tyler Steen as the weakest link. And I think that if you have a chance to upgrade the offensive line and get the guy of the future, Alex, why not? It's a good pull by you.
I try to do that every once in a while. Try to get some sort of good pull, but,
We got some text coming in, 609-403-0973. Again, we are giving away, you can either win MAC basketball championship tickets or you can win boxing tickets for next Saturday, Tropicana Stadium in Atlantic City. Just text in your name, where you're from, what tickets you want, and join the conversation. 609-403-0973. Robbie from Little Lake Harbor says, let the offseason play out. No one will know how the NFL draft will play out for 2 months. Well, yeah, but we can still have fun talk about it, Robbie. Okay,
it's combine week.
Yeah, it's combine week. We got guys in shorts and t-shirts running around. We talk about them. It's what we do in sports.
I will say I was watching the combine 2 nights ago, and it was the linebackers. Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, these guys are freaks. I mean, both Ohio State products. Both are most likely going to be top 10 draft picks in this upcoming draft.
Yeah.
I mean, Sonny Styles, this guy, and then his brother, Lorenzo Styles Jr.
Not Lorenzo Neal.
No. But running 40 times, jumping out the gym. These guys are going to be an issue in the league. And I will say the coverage lets you know that. They would not stop talking about these guys. I guess they just love their Ohio State boys or whatnot, but...
Well, listen, when you have a guy have the combine showing Snyder and Reese, what's his name, Averell Reese or Everine Reese? I got to look it up. Arvell. Thank you. I messed it up both times. I pulled a Billy Schwein there for a minute. But Reese is his last name. Yeah. When those guys go have those crazy jump, sprint, cone drill numbers, people are going to get attention. Now, the problem is that this is why you get in trouble with the draft, because people fall in love with guys' combine numbers and forget to watch the tape. That's why, for example, for a guy like me, even though Sadiq is going to be gone by the time the Eagles pick, if you told me the Eagles walked out in the second round with Eli Stowers of Vanderbilt, I'd be thrilled. Because people don't realize Stowers is basically this draft's Dallas Goedert, but with better hands. Think about that for a sec.
Who's the kid out of Georgia?
The kid out of Georgia.
The tight end.
Well, let me look it up because I'm drawing a blank too.
Lucky? No, it's...
I don't see a tight end out of Georgia.
Is he not coming out of this draft?
Maybe he didn't come out in this draft.
Yeah.
Let's look it up. Tight end, Georgia Bulldogs. Because I'm drawing a blank. Who? Are you talking about? Oh, Lawson Lucky.
Yeah. Isn't he?
He returned.
Oh, okay.
He did not declare for the 2016 NFL draft. According to reports, even though he measured well, he wanted to come back to school to play one more year.
All right. Can't hate a guy for that.
Although his teammate, he's got a weird first name. Oscar Delp. Oscar Delp actually might be better than Lucky is.
I think that's what I was thinking of, Oscar Delp.
Were you?
Yeah.
Well, you were thinking about Georgia. Well, listen, Georgia tight end's not a bad way to go considering the last couple have come out, guys like Brock Bowers and others. So I can't hate on you for that.
So are they tight end you or is Iowa?
I think Iowa still is. Georgia's more like defensive player you.
Look at the Eagles.
Exactly. Jeff in Ocean City chimes in. He wants to ask us the Billy Schwein question from earlier at 609-403-0973. He says, I want the Flyers to be sellers at the deadline. What do you guys think? Also, how does Alex feel about my lacrosse bet? Now, for those who don't know, ever since Alex started telling the world that he's a lacrosse guy, Jeff from Ocean City loves to make lacrosse bets now. So his parlay is Cornell, Boston University, and Penn State as a 3-leg parlay. How does Alex feel about this 3-leg parlay?
Cornell's actually playing Richmond right now, a top 5 matchup. Cornell's actually up right now, 2-1 in the first. I like the Big Red, defending national champions. Can't go wrong. Richmond did have a huge win against Virginia last week. Kind of felt like they were one of those teams kind of on the come up. Haven't really ever made it deep in the tournament, but they were one of those teams who kind of needed that staple win to show the world and show the country, like, yo, we're not pushovers. Like, we're legit here. Both teams have great talent. I don't hate the Cornell play. The one that I do question is my own alma mater, Penn State. The good team should be better than what they're putting out. Their 2 losses this year have been to unranked teams where they should have just blown the doors off of them. And Yale's one of those Ivy League blue bloods, national champion back in 2018. I'm not too familiar with Yale this year, but I'm just so scared betting on Penn State because of just they kind of play down to their competition, it seems like. So, it's not a crazy parlay. You're all favorites you bet on, so you can't go wrong with that.
Couple more texts coming in on the text board at 609-403-0973. We have Steven Ventnor chiming in. He says, guys, I agree. Address the offensive line early and often. Proctor from Alabama has high enough floor as well to be at number 23 overall. He also says, Trotter Jr. will have a bigger role to play next year, but you can bring in a guy like maybe – I think so Steve sends these very long texts, so it kind of confuses me, honestly. But he's talking about basically if Nakobe Dees come back, he believes that Jeremiah Trotter Jr. can be a good enough third linebacker.
See, I go back and forth with the whole Nakobe Dean thing because it's like, all right, do you let him walk, move up Jihad Campbell, let him take over that position with Zach Baun? Then I also think Baun's probably here at the end of this contract, and I don't know how much. Probably that's going to be it here in Philly, if I had to make a guess. Do you bring him back and then let Baun walk when Baun's contract's up and then let it just be Dean and Campbell? Or are you just too concerned with the injury history with Dean and just say, hey, let's go Campbell and Baun?
I think there's two problems with Dean. One is, yes, the injury history. Two is, considering there's not a lot of great linebackers in football, he might get a big offer. So the question is, will be willing to match that offer? That's always a conundrum.
Yeah.
He's Alex Berardis. I'm Josh Hennig, hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle. Coming up, let's talk more NFL. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press will join us to talk about the Eagles, the NFL. He's at the Combine all week. Don't forget Flyers hockey coming up at 3 p.m. today on 97.3 ESPN. And if you're looking for a place to watch the game, go visit my friends over at Hang Time Bar and Grill in Galloway. They don't just have all the great happy hour specials throughout the week, but they also are the place to be to watch every game for every season on their plethora of TVs. Don't forget, we will be there broadcasting live for the first weekend of that March tournament with college basketball you hear about every year. Well, we're going to be there for that first weekend, so make sure you bring your brackets and hang out with us on March 21st. Here's more about Hang Time Bar and Grill in Galloway. Your go-to hangout spot for friends and family looking for a night out or to watch sports is located on the White Horse Pike in Galloway. Hang Time Bar and Grill features live music every Tuesday night, DJ bingo every Wednesday night, and plenty of TVs to watch your favorite team play all year round. Plus, don't miss out on Hanging with Hennig broadcasting live at Hang Time Bar in Galloway. First weekend of the biggest college basketball tournament of the year on Saturday, March 21st. Check out Hang Time Bar and Grill on Facebook and Instagram to learn more about their weekly specials and one of the best happy hours in South Jersey on the White Horse Pike in Galloway at Hang Time Bar and Grill.
For 23 years, we've helped athletes at all levels at Clemic Performance Method, from youth to pros, increase maximum velocity, acceleration, vertical leaps, and general physical preparedness. We offer youth, high school, and pro college classes. Our proven results have earned national recognition from NFL coaches, sponsors, and a feature on ESPN Radio's Sports Science segment. You can contact me directly at 609-742-6190, or as always, visit us on our website, clemicperformancemethod.com.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom! That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/fast. That's ethos.com/fast.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
The smartest way to spend your money is not to. Straight Talk offers free 5G phones for new and existing customers on Verizon's 5G network. So the refund money I don't spend on that free phone is the refund money I get to keep for my family. Smart.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Trust Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, where one call does it all. For leaks, stoppages, and renovations, Jenkins technicians are trained to do it all, and they've been on the job since 1949. Renovating your kitchen or bath? Call Jenkins. For new heating and air installation, service, and maintenance, ductless air conditioning systems, water heaters, boilers, oil service, plumbing, and drain cleaning services. Jenkins can also repair or replace your water or sewer main. Call 609-641-6262 or visit jenkinsandsons.com.
Jenkins Plumbing and Heating.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature-Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature-Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
You blitz all night.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget, coming up on the show, we'll be talking with not one but two fighters who will be fighting next Saturday at Atlantic State Tropicana Showroom, Atlantic State, presented by Boxing Insider Promotions. Holy Spirit High School graduate, undefeated heavyweight Josh Popper will join us at 1 p.m. And then Pleasantville High School graduate Julio Sanchez III will join us at 2 p.m. Part of the lineup of great fighters who will be in action. You heard Justin Figueroa join us a couple weeks ago here on 97.3 ESPN, the undefeated 14-0 Atlantic City fighter, also a Holy Spirit High School graduate, along with Leah Lewandowski, the undefeated women's boxer from Berlin, New Jersey, all part of a stacked fight card. Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City, Saturday, March 7th. Presenting sponsor for today's Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. As promised, Rob Maaddi is joining us from the Associated Press. He was in Indianapolis all week, and Rob, you made it home pretty quick. How you doing today?
I'm good. I leave before the prospects start doing all their
gymnastics,
workouts, and everything else. Right? I go for the coaches, for the GMs, for the agents, and then I'm not going to spend 9 days there or however long it takes. You can watch all those workouts and see all that stuff. But I still got to put together my first mock draft. That's coming up next week, man. So I love being able to just gauge. Like, you got these guys who are experts at mock drafts, and that's all they do, right? All year round. And I just dive into it for a month. And I like to gauge how well I do against them, because I think sometimes in life, if you tell somebody you're an expert, Josh, at something, and you tell them over and over and over again, people start to believe you. So I think we got to gauge some of the experts out there by the results, not by how much they tell you they're good at something.
Well, listen, considering how good you are at picking NFL games throughout the season, I don't blame you for wanting to take a shot in another arena of the NFL. You mentioned about leaving early. Let me ask you a question before we get to the main news. There were some teams that did not send coaches and GMs. Yeah. Okay, I know Jacksonville was one of them. I forget who some of the other teams were. What is the take around the NFL that is the combine becoming more of entertainment and less about actual work? Like, is that why some of these teams are not sending these guys?
McVay and the Rams haven't gone in for a few years. I don't think Kyle Shanahan was there. And I think some of the coaches from the McVay tree, because look, it's Liam Cohn, it's McVay, Shanahan. They all come from that same mindset and thought process where they feel like they get to evaluate the players individual. They participate in the interviews when they bring them in, right? The top 30 visits. So you've got that opportunity. Let the scouts and the people that you put in place handle Indy. Meanwhile, you've got other work that you can accomplish, other things that you got to work on, and just more valuable time spent. Now, some people, some coaches, those who do, and Andy Reid wasn't there, but he also had a little bit of a health situation that he was taking care of. But I think some of the coaches there they will tell you that, hey, we like to be hands-on. We like to be in the room. We want to get that opportunity. And then some of these other guys are starting to look like and feel that their time is better spent. The coaching staff's time is better spent somewhere else. You've got the scouting staff. You've got the personnel staff. Let them narrow it down. And then when they bring in the guys, you still get your hands on them. You still get an opportunity to see them. And then maybe if they want to go to their pro day and see the individual workout. Because also, Josh, right, more and more of the top players from like the quarterback standpoint, they're not throwing at the combine. So you hope that maybe you get an opportunity to see some of that at the pro day. But really, they've put so much on tape. They've played so much over the past 3-4 years in college that you're evaluating a lot of it off that, and you let the people that you believe in who can handle some of the character and how their preparedness, their mental readiness to be able to go into a situation, be a number one pick, be a second round pick, be a day impact player or who's a day 2 starter, something like that. You let those guys handle it. So I think the trend is you might see it continue to rise. I have a feeling like over the course of the next few years, you might see fewer head coaches actually go to the combine. And then there are those who just go because they want to do they go speak to the media that first day, they handle that and they're out.
Speaking of people who are coming and going, Rob, I got to ask you about, obviously, Howie Roseman. He made about 20 media hits this week. It was getting to the point where I kept having to explain to people. I was like, he said that on another show. It's not news. Like he basically was rinsing and repeating his answers just in different ways in every interview. To which I have to get your perspective. What is your take on this whole AJ Brown stuff? Because on one hand, Howie's like, we're not in the business of getting rid of great players. But then in the same sentence, they'd be like, but we got to take calls from everybody. So, it's not like Howie is closed for business, but he's not actively trying to trade him, which I think is a very fair position, right? But to me, I look around the free agent market, outside of Mike Evans, there's not a great receiver on the free agent market. So if you're Buffalo, if you're the Patriots, if you're some of these teams, you might have to strongly consider, do I want to draft a wide receiver? Do I want to overpay for Christian Kirk? Or do I want to trade for A.J. Brown?
And I think that he certainly is going to be available to the teams that inquire. And the Eagles are handling it from that standpoint of, we're not actively shopping. They're not calling teams trying to give A.J. Brown away because he's a good football player. He's an excellent player. They've won a Super Bowl with A.J. They went to another Super Bowl with A.J. They've had tremendous amount of success with him being part of this offense. But sometimes relationships reach a point where it's best for you just mutually part and you're better off going in another direction. This could be headed there. Although the Eagles aren't saying it, AJ has said this offseason that he wants to be here, but sometimes the conversations that are being said, what people are saying publicly and the narrative that they're putting out there doesn't necessarily go with what's happening behind the scenes. I think if the Eagles get an offer that they feel is going to help them for this season and beyond, they're going to take it. And I think that this relationship has reached a point where I don't think it's deteriorated to where he's got to go, where they have to make a move, where they have to accept less than what they consider to be value for A.J. Brown. But let's look at it from, he's a 29-year-old receiver. He's going to be 29, I believe, in June. He was drafted in the second round. He's had tremendous success. But also there have been times where you look at AJ and you look at some of the things. Is he always going all out, max effort on every play? Is he blocking when he has to? And sometimes that's not always the case. I think you could say that. You could point out a lot of wide receivers too and say that about it. It's the nature of the position. Everybody wants the football. I I've never heard Mike Evans complain when he doesn't get that. And we could talk about Mike a little bit later in this conversation. I think what the Eagles are going to do with AJ is see what teams are willing to offer. If they can get a 2 and a 3 for AJ Brown, I think they make it. If they get a 2 and a 4 that might be conditional, moves up to a 3 or something like that, swap picks also as well. Howie has a knack for including other players in trades or getting someone along with some draft capital. So he's very creative and I think very willing to engage teams. And there's going to be interest. You heard this week Mike Vrabel. I thought it was a little bit unfair for those who wanted to characterize it as Mike Vrabel's tampering because he was asked a direct question about A.J. Brown, the nature of their relationship, and he answered it honestly. He could have just said, hey, I can't talk about another team's player. But he coached A.J. They had what was at times a tumultuous relationship that's developed into more of a coach mentor to a player, said he's proud of him, proud of the person he's become, the father that he is, that they have text conversations all the time, good times, bad times. I think that's normal when you have a coach-player relationship, and even if you're not on the same team, that still can continue down the road. So I wouldn't think that Mike Vrabel's done anything out of the ordinary here of that. And to me, that you look at the Patriots, and they're certainly a team that should be interested in A.J. Brown. It's a natural fit. He's talked about, and other people around him have said how he grew up a Patriots fan. You see how excited he gets when he sees Tom Brady anytime he's doing a Fox game. So I think that's a natural fit. What's the price tag going to be, and is New England willing to pay for it? So if you ask me now, Josh, if you're asking me right now if A.J. Brown's going to be on the Eagles come training camp, I would lean more so towards not than he is.
Rob, the team with the first overall pick, the Vegas Raiders, they're kind of in an interesting spot here. One of the best defensive players in the league, Max Crosby, saying he never wants to play another snap for them again. Their front office saying we're not trading him. I've honestly thrown out the idea here on the show saying they could use a number 1 receiver with, bringing in Mendoza, maybe A.J. Brown for Crosby, throw some picks around. However that would work. But what's the vibe out there in Vegas with the Crosby situation, even if it's not, coming to Philly? But are they looking to possibly move off from him?
Alex, it's similar to what Howie and the Eagles are dealing with A.J. Brown. We love having great players on the team. And John Spytek was asked about Max Crosby on, I forget the days, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day it was, like 5 or 6 different times. And his first 5 or 6 answers were like, he's a great player. We want to have him on a team. We have a good relationship. He's coming back, all that. Finally, I think it was like the last question of the news conference was, so would you then consider Max Crosby untradeable? Like, is he an untouchable player? And he said, no, we're willing to listen to anything. So it tells you right there that no matter what they're saying, no, we're not looking to trade the guy. He's a great player. We want to have him. We're past whatever happened. Oh, but yeah, if you come in and make us an offer, we're certainly going to listen. You're the Las Vegas Raiders. At this point, you haven't won a darn thing with Max Crosby. You're not 1 year away. This isn't a team that can draft Mendoza right now and compete in a Super Bowl in 2026. I think they're going to be willing to listen to what they can get for Max Crosby. If they can get anything remotely close to what Micah Parsons yielded for down, I don't think they're on that same level to where you can get 2 1s for Max Crosby, but you should be able to get a 1 in something else. How you're looking at it is intriguing to me. A.J. Brown stepping in there as a wide receiver 1 for a young quarterback. I don't know how much he would enjoy playing on a team that doesn't have a chance to win, but he certainly would be the number 1 target, and he certainly can rack up 130 catches or 120 if he stays healthy. I wouldn't dismiss that, man. I like the way you're thinking. I know Howie would think that way. I know if he's looking to, but you got to also look at the cap ramifications and what Max Crosby's situation is for the Raiders, AJ's for the Eagles, post June 1, all that stuff along the way.
Talking with Rob Maaddi for the Associated Press, joining us here on Hanging with Hennig. Josh Hennig, Alex Berardis, the 97.3 ESPN studio. Of course, Rob was in Indianapolis this week covering the league and all the pressers and everything. You mentioned about the salary cap going up, Rob. is there a team that is going to benefit possibly from that 22 million bump up? Like, do you feel like there's a team in the league that, when they saw that number of 301.2 million, looking around being like, oh, thank God we got some relief here?
There's a lot of teams. I think, Josh, I'm trying to look at the list now and see who some of the teams that have the most money. Instead, the list that came up to me is the salary cap escalation. So I don't have the teams in front. I got, this is remarkable. Look at the 1994 salary cap. 34,608,000. This is 1994. Go all the way to 2010. Remember the uncapped year, the year of the dream team? And that was uncapped. Then the next year, 2011, was 120. So you went from 34 to 120 in a 17-year span, and then all the way to 301 million in 32 years. That's insane. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that certainly can use that money. I know Jerry Jones invited the Cowboys local beat writers onto his bus for it was like he had a luxury bus in Indy. So I'm not, I guess he didn't want to travel. He doesn't travel by jet. Private jet. He had a luxury bus that he was hanging out on for a while. And they spoke for, and he said, he was just talking about how obviously the Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl in forever. And he wants to be as aggressive as possible. And I think franchising George Pickens is not going to preclude the Cowboys from wanting to do whatever they can to improve that team. They look around the NFC East, they see that the Eagles have been the dominant team in the division, and they now see that John Harbaugh's in New York. He's on the Giants. He's going to change that program around. I don't think there's anybody that I spoke to who doesn't believe that John Harbaugh's impact on the Giants isn't going to be immediate, and that they're going to be every year. There's the sleeper team that can go from bottom of the division to everybody's going to look at the Giants, and Jerry's aware of that. He's aware of his age. He knows that he doesn't have too many years down the road to go to be building for the future. He's got to win now. And he talked about mortgaging some of the future, or trading some of the future to win now. So I think they're going to be as aggressive as possible, unlike what we've seen out of the Cowboys in past years. Now, if they're not, then Jerry's just, he sold me again, because I'm believing it this time. I'm thinking that they're going to go all in. And if they remember, when was it? Was it last year or the year before? We're all in, and they didn't do a stinking thing.
Yep, last year. Yep.
Yeah, all in, didn't do anything. Now I believe it this time. So let's see if they can make things happen.
Rob, Josh and I have been both pretty vocal about this draft. Kind of feels like one of those where the quarterbacks might get a few GMs fired. Is there anybody like outside of Mendoza, who's definitely going one? Is there anybody out there who could surprise some people, like maybe a Ty Simpson or someone like that, who can actually be a mainstay in this league?
I think a lot of quarterbacks get a lot of coaches fired. I think, and a lot of coaches get themselves fired. That's just the nature of the business, guys. And there was this year, when was it? So Dable got fired in Jackson Dart's first year. Caleb Williams last year, and Eberflus, he got fired. Like, we continually see head coaches lose their job with a rookie quarterback, a first-round pick quarterback. And sometimes it's because they got that first-round pick quarterback because they were terrible for a few years, and they're getting one last opportunity to go out there and win. And if they don't win immediately, like Dable was already on the hot seat and couldn't turn things around. So I do think that's a possibility. Whether it's Simpson, whether it's someone else, it's not a lot of people talking about this draft class. Forget just the quarterbacks, the entire draft class, that it's not as great as they had hoped or as they thought. But then there's some positions, edge rusher, that there's a lot of talent. You could see potentially 3 or 4 edge guys go in the top 6, 7 picks. And that makes a lot of sense because you look at the way teams are winning now. You look at the last 2 Super Bowl champions with the Seahawks and the Eagles. How did they win those games? They dominated on the defensive side. They dominated on the line of scrimmage. So I think there's more talent there than there is anywhere else in the draft. And we'll see how that plays out. Once I get deep diving into my mock draft, I'll is there going to be a sleeper quarterback like Brock Purdy who gets picked in the 6th round and ends up becoming a franchise quarterback? I don't know that right now. I couldn't tell you if there's going to be anybody who.
I got one for you. I'll be that guy.
A Brock Purdy-ish type guy, Josh. Now I want to hear this. Go ahead.
Talon Green of Arkansas. That dude had a phenomenal season for an abomination of a coaching staff. They fired the head coach in the middle of the season, and he was still putting up numbers. That young man, if you give him to a Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell, one of those kind of coaches, that dude is going to be something.
What do you see in potentially Drew Aller? Is he getting drafted, or is he going to have to go to undrafted free agent route coming off that injury?
Oh, he's getting drafted just because everybody sees his talent, I think. To me, the guy who's not going to get drafted, I think, is Luke Altmaier.
It's going to be fun to see how that plays out. And, obviously quarterbacks get all the hype. Like at this time last year, guys, we were talking about Shedeur being 1 or 2. This and not just in Indy, it was beyond Indy. It was at the NFL owners meetings in late March, 3 weeks ahead of the draft, where we were still talking about, is it Shedeur? Is it Cam Ward 1, 2? And he slips to the 5th round. So there's a lot of unpredictability. I don't think what these guys do at Indy or on their pro day should have that much of an impact on their draft stock, based on what you've seen them do on a football field under pressure, throw into in-game situations. So there's a lot that'll be thrown out there. There's a lot that'll be talked about. I think the Eagles are going to be in the market to take a quarterback, but probably not before day 3. I just don't think there. A lot of people talking about like, oh, they drafted Jalen Hurts and there's a surprise pick in the 2nd round. They could do that again. I don't see that. I think Jalen Hurts is getting every opportunity to bounce back, and he didn't have a terrible year last year. There was a lot of issues with the offense and the system and the scheme, and you got Sean Mannion coming in and give him a chance to see if he can thrive, if he can flourish in that offense. So I think if we're looking at the Eagles and their quarterback possibilities, that's not going to happen before day 3.
I mean, a lot of drops last year, too. Don't forget about that. A lot of guys dropping balls are right in the breadbasket. Drew Aller might be a candidate for the Eagles. A guy coming off of an injury, third day pick, Sean Mannion. Let me get my hands on this guy, especially if, and I'm not trying to speak anything into existence, but I know on you, Rob, I've heard a lot of speculation that Tanner McKee might get traded this offseason because people are maybe not enamored with the quarterback. So, you know how it is, Rob. Somebody calls the Eagles, maybe the quarterback, they wanted it on day 2 of the draft, right? They're like, is Tanner McKee available? I'll give you a pick. And then the Eagles go get Aller, and then they got Aller and Sam Howell in camp next year.
Yeah, and having Sam Howell, I think, makes Tanner McKee a little bit more likely to be available if you're going to go that direction, if you're going to go that route. I don't know what would Tanner McKee get the Eagles in the draft? Better than a 5th or a 5th would be high. I don't know if you'd get higher than a 5th for Tanner McKee. So that could happen. I didn't watch a ton of Drew Aller. I was not what I saw out of him was not overly impressive.
You got a Penn State alumni sitting over here, so
I can take the reins on this one if you need, Rob. He's not that good. I'm sorry. Like, he was supposed to be he was the guy who was supposed to take our program to higher heights than we'd ever seen.
Hear this, our program?
It is our program. But
hey, my wife went to Penn State, and we watched Drew Aller against Ohio State, and she sounded exactly like you, but I didn't give her much stock because she doesn't have your football acumen. But I'm going to go down and tell her right now that, hey, Alex agrees with you.
It was just like, you look at him, he looks like Josh Allen out there. There's no question about that. It was really Now, last year we had the heartbreaking loss to Notre Dame. He throws the interception, should have never even thrown the ball. He's always crumbled in the big Michigan, Ohio State. Now, that's a Penn State thing to begin with. And then you had a guy who wouldn't really show up. But then last year, before the just absolute collapse that happened, when we were playing these FIUs, like the teams that you should, when you look at this, you don't even put on because you know it's going to be 63-7 or something like that. It was a one-possession game at halftime, and it was like a 24-14 finish. We were
he ain't lying, but I will say though,
one of those teams too, right? They lost to one of those. Like they were a 30-point favorite and lost to somebody, didn't they?
Well, that was to Northwest. That was when everything. That's
when Franklin got fired.
Yeah, that was just. But I'm saying we had the first 3 weeks of the year were dog teams. Those were the
Rob.
They
went
games.
0 for 6 in the first 6 weeks against the spread. They couldn't cover against Villanova and FIU. Like it was getting to a point where like my stone cold lead pipe lock of the century of the week every week was pick against Penn State.
So I mean, if you want to see. Like, I thought this last year with Quinn Ewers. I thought if you had Quinn Ewers sit, I wanted the Rams to draft Ewers so you could have a guy like Matthew Stafford just mentor this guy. Maybe the Rams do that with Aller now. I think Aller, he has all the tools. He has the size, the look, everything. Maybe he just has to be with a Matthew Stafford type of quarterback just to teach him, technique him a little bit, and then maybe down the line he's a great quarterback.
Hey, if you got the tools and you got that ability from a physical standpoint, you get with the right coaching. So it helps. We've seen that, right? Sometimes it helps. So you guys, like, and you said it, right? A lot of coaches out there feel like, hey, I can be the guy to bring this talent out of this kid. And they take on projects like that.
Keep that name in mind. Taylen Green.
I got you.
Keep in mind, Arkansas. That's the guy I think is going to surprise some people.
Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy too. I love it.
He's Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press, at Rob Maaddi on the X platform, at The Real Rob Maaddi on Instagram. Check out all of his coverage of the NFL at apnews.org. And he joined us right here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Rob, great stuff today. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you always. Keep up the great work.
Josh Hennig, Alex Berardis hanging out with you. Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle, streaming live on YouTube and X at 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget, Hanging with Hennig being brought to you by Prevail Nutrition. You know, now that we are done with blizzard season, maybe your summer goals got a little off track as you were too busy bunkering down the house. Well, why don't you get back on track with your meal plan? Let Prevail prep your meals for you as you get back to your busy life schedule. PrevailNutrition.club is where you go to get your orders. Monday and Fridays are the order days, delivering to Atlantic and Cumberland counties, plus Ocean City, or you can do pickup in Absecon. Be like me. Get your life on track. Simplify your life with Prevail Nutrition. Go to PrevailNutrition.club today. Tired of cooking and planning all of your meals each and every day? You need Prevail Nutrition to simplify your life. For almost a decade, Prevail Nutrition is a local meal prep company located in South Jersey that allows customers to design their own meal plan. Or you can choose from a wide variety of chef-designed meals on their weekly changing Prevail Selects menu. You can order online for pickup or get free delivery on orders of over $50. Prevail Nutrition delivers to Atlantic and Cumberland counties along with Ocean City. Or you can pick up your meals every Monday and Friday. Learn more about how Prevail Nutrition can simplify your life. Visit their website at PrevailNutrition.club. Check out Prevail Nutrition on Facebook and Instagram. Prevail Nutrition is my go-to choice for prepared meals and food. Order online, like me, at PrevailNutrition.club.
Making your home look brand new is what Work of Art Construction can do for you. Ready to remodel your bathroom or have a kitchen makeover? Art Masker has 40 years of experience in construction and knows how to make your home look like a work of art. Want to install a new back deck or invest in a new front door? Just call Art Masker at 609-788-4271 to learn more. Visit Work of Art Construction on Instagram to see how Work of Art Construction can make your home look brand new. Beautify your home with Work of Art. Call him at 609-788-4271 and let them make your home truly a work of art.
Hi, I'm Michael from the War and Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature-Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Xfinity Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote. No!
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Discover a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
I want my picks back, and I want David Putnam.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
I want all my picks back, and I want David Putnam just because I feel like it.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah, I am. Haven't I proved that already?
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig along with Alex Berardis in the 97.3 ESPN studios. Don't forget Hanging with Hennig being brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook, the only sportsbook app with Caesars rewards. Bet like a Caesar and earn perks in every game, like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using my promo code radio250BM. Get your first bet match as a bonus bet up to $250 whether you win or lose. Open New Jersey users who are 21 or older. Minimum odds -500. Award is a non-withdrawable bonus bet. That expires 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet amount not returned for winning bets. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Alex, coming up on the other side, we will get back into the boxing conversation. Holy Spirit High School graduate Josh Popper will join us. How many high school graduates from Holy Spirit do we have? We got Justin Figueroa, we got Josh Popper, but Josh Popper will join us next, the undefeated heavyweight contender here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN.
Hey, South Jersey, this is Billy Schweim. Tune into The Locker Room every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN. Each weekend in The Locker Room, you will get passionate sports talk from a fan's perspective, along with interviews with some of the biggest names in sports. That's every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon in The Locker Room with me, Billy Schweim, on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, because nothing could be finer than talking sports with a Schweiner.
Hey, it's Mike Gill. Have you checked out the most loved Indian restaurant in South Jersey? The Nizam's Indian Restaurant on Route 40 in Egg Harbor Township is amazing and ready to serve you delicious Indian dishes. NJ.com ranked them the #2 best restaurant in all of New Jersey. At Nizam's, they believe that dining is more than just great food. It's the whole experience. The Nizam's open 7 days a week from 11:30 a.m. to 9:30. Join them for a special lunch buffet on Sundays from 11:30 to 3. Visit thenizams.com for more information.
Since 1949, local homeowners and businesses have trusted Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Jenkins understands these are challenging times, which is why they're offering financing on all plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and maintenance services. Take advantage of utility loans up to $25,000 at 0% for 7 years and rebates up to $2,950. If you're a new or existing customer in need of service, call Jenkins today. Some qualifications apply. Call 609-641-6262 or visit jenkinsandsons.com.
Baseball season is almost here. South Jersey and your business can be part of the action. Now, Town Square Media lets you advertise inside Philadelphia Phillies games on connected TV, putting your message on the biggest screen in the house, while fans stream the games they love. That means local, engaged viewers and real results for your business. Step up to the plate and get in the lineup today. Reach out to Jim McLean at townsquaresouthjersey.com and start winning with connected TV.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City, a community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Finally!
This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity. Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone!
Josh Hennig.
Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN, hour 2 of the show. We'll get back to the text board in just a bit at 609-403-0973. Don't forget still to come, we got Hockey Talk coming up with Scott Laughlin from SiriusXM NHL Radio. But as promised right now, boxing returns to Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. And also returning to Atlantic City is our next guest. Holy Spirit High School graduate, along with undefeated heavyweight Josh Popper, joins us back here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh, welcome back in. How's the training camp going?
Oh, man, training camp's going great. What's up, Josh? What's up, Alex? How you guys doing?
We're doing good. So tell us a little bit about, obviously the last time you and I talked was kind of your debut, right? It was your debut back in Atlantic City as a boxer. For you, over the last few months, kind of what has been, the takeaway, the evolution for you? Because obviously you're still growing, you're developing, you're evolving as a fighter, as a person. So for you, what has been kind of like the last few months been for you?
That's a great question. Last few months have been very interesting. Just trying to figure out where exactly my career is headed, what's next. Eyeing up, opponents that I want to get in the ring with, people that I want to fight so I can make a statement and really rise in the rankings. So it's been fun. The past couple months have been crucial as well because I'm really finding a good groove as far as how a road training camp is supposed to be ran. Making sure that I'm getting my road work in, getting my 2-a-days in that are in the gym. Added some cool other supplements to my training like swimming. And, making sure that I have a great team around me. I've added a coach to my team. So just, making sure that everything is good and set so that as my career progresses, I'm making sure that I'm doing everything the right way.
You mentioned about adding swimming in there at the end. That's a very interesting thing because people don't always think about, cross-training when it comes to someone like a boxer. Like we hear about that with youth athletes, right? I know for you in your gym up there in New York, you probably have young people. You're like, hey, don't just play one sport, right? But to hear a pro athlete say, hey, I'm training multiple things, like, talk about the psychology of that. I'm sure that, some of that's a challenge for you.
Oh man, a challenge is an understatement. It's funny because I'm used to being pretty good at things, and when I hopped in the pool for the first time. Actually, it was right around my last fight in November, the one that I had my homecoming debut in Atlantic City. And when I hopped in the pool, it was, to me, it was pure comedy. I had everyone that was in that pool going, "Hey, do you need some help? I could give you a few pointers." And I'm like, "Is it really that bad?" And they're like, "Yes, it's that bad." So just being able to be open to being bad at something and trying something new, one, is powerful in itself, but just having that cross training aspect is crucial. You're going to be able, using swimming specifically, you're going to be able to get an amazing cardio workout without putting all that pressure on your joints and ligaments like running. So it's a great way to make sure that I'm still conditioning my muscles with the swimming, especially the shoulders, and getting that cardio aspect. And it's a fun new challenge. I'm pretty sure I speak for every fighter when we say running is not fun, but we understand that it's important. But I found swimming as something that is a new challenge and something that is fun. And it's a different way that I can challenge myself and push and get my heart rate up. Sometimes I'll just go, 30, 40 laps in the pool. Sometimes I'll try and do around 10 laps, but I'll try to lower the amount of time that it takes me to do 10 laps. So my heart rate is up a lot when I'm trying to do different variations of the pool workouts and working on breath work as well while I'm swimming. So to me, it's a fun new challenge. It's a way to get cool, fun cardio involved. But you already know, Josh, I've been playing a lot of sports since my childhood, like basketball, football, obviously now boxing. The importance of playing a bunch of different sports is that you learn different things in those sports. You're also gaining different skills that, you wouldn't have from just playing one sport. So like obviously the footwork aspect that I get from playing basketball, with football, not only like the team environment and how I take that into boxing as well with the team that I have, but learning when to use strength versus finesse. All those things are huge. And then, swimming, learning how to breathe properly, knowing how not to panic, learning how to be comfortable when you're underwater. I'm actually not a good swimmer, but, I've taken this challenge head on, and to me, it's been an amazing process so far.
Yeah, now you're just making me feel old. Like, oh, Josh, Yeah, I actually called some of your high school football games the Holy Spirit. That's how old I am. Josh Hennig back here in the 97.3 ESPN studio, along with Alex Berardis, chatting with Josh Popper, Holy Spirit High School graduate. He is now fighting for the second time at Tropicana in Atlantic City, Saturday, March 7th. I think the other thing that's interesting for you is that, I remember when I watched you back in November, and that, for you, it felt like there was a little bit of like, getting the engine up and going. Like, you kind of like, finding your reach, finding your spacing in a new environment. Has that been part of the camp a little bit to maybe like, find that awareness a little faster?
For sure, yes. My last fight was different for me in the sense of, being in a new environment, and not so much a new environment, but being in an environment that would kind of pull on my mental in different ways. I'm in front of a home crowd. I'm fighting in front of people who have never seen me fight, including in the amateurs. So what we've been doing a little bit differently in this camp is making sure that I'm getting sparring outside of my gym. So I'm actually in my gym right now. This is my ring that I usually get most of my training in. In this camp, we made a point to make sure that I'm traveling. I'm getting sparring in different gyms. I'm getting sparring in different environments to where, there's a lot of talking happening around, a lot of noise happening outside the ring, getting in good sparring with different opponents that, are challenging me more, talking a little bit to try and get in my head. All those things are huge because if you're sparring or training in a comfortable environment, it's not always going to go like that when you get in the ring. And then if you're not prepared for those moments, it can really pull on your mental in different ways. So my last fight, I didn't feel like I was as mentally prepared as I should have been. And I thought I was going into the fight, which is, that's usually how it goes. But I realized, especially going in after that first round, when I came back to the stool, I was like, I don't feel like myself. And I feel like I had two choices there. It was to, soak in that and fall victim to that mental state, or, and thank God for my coaches that I had. And, two choices: fall into that or see that as adversity, be willing to adapt, make the adjustments, bite down on the mouthpiece and get the job done by any means necessary.
Josh, I always love hearing about the weight cutting when it comes to these upcoming fights. I got to assume like it was a grueling, hard process, but as you're getting more fights under your belt, are you starting to find newer ways or ways that are working for you that aren't, just making you feel like absolute death?
So that's a really good question. So I'm actually a heavyweight. I don't have to worry about the weight cut. However, my diet has always been absolutely terrible, like terrible. I'm the kind of guy that will have, the same meal every day and then finish it off with a pack of cookies from McDonald's. And I'll eat the full 13 cookies in one sitting like it's normal.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right? Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. But this camp, that was something that was my number one thing that I wanted to change was my nutrition aspect. So I actually partnered up with an amazing restaurant that's here in New York City called Matter Formula. And I'm not trying to go all in and try and push everybody to go there. But if you're in New York City, you should definitely check it out. It's absolutely amazing. So they list out all of the macros, which is something that I never even, I knew what it was, but I never once at any point in my life ever cared to look at the macros of what I was eating. And I never knew what was in the food that I was eating. And I never realized how much the nutrition would make your energy feel better and just allow the training to be, 10 times more efficient. So anyway, talking about the nutrition aspect, I actually make sure I'm eating real food now. I'm eating good food. I know the ingredients that I have. I understand that the macros, I understand the macros of what I'm eating. So usually if I train really hard and I forget to eat, because, I'm also a coach, I own the gym here, Breadwinners. Sometimes with the schedule being hectic, it's like I go right from coaching to right into training. And the next thing you know, it's like, all right, that training session went 2.5 hours instead of 2 hours. I have a client who's going to be coming into the gym in about 5 minutes. I don't have time to eat. So I would skip meals a lot. Now partnering up with Matter Formula, I have my meals pre-scheduled and I have all of the macros matching exactly what my goals are. So I set out a goal to make sure that I was exactly 235 pounds going into fight night. And right now I'm right around 237 by design, because I know, the day of and whatnot, I'm going to have the nerves and whatnot that's going to cause me to not want to eat. So I'm just super excited and super ready to show everything that I can do based on having a real proper camp and focusing on the nutrition, focusing on sleeping better, focusing on all that. But food, for the most part, is definitely a challenge for any fighter. I can only imagine having to cut weight. Thank God I don't have to do that. But even as a heavyweight, the food is definitely still a major challenge. And I was able to make sure that I have that nipped in the butt with the best kind of restaurant that I could ever partner with or even eat at, even if it wasn't a partnership. I was going to be eating there anyway. Once I found out, because they're brand new. Once I found out about them, I was like, all right, this is what I need. This is exactly what I need. And I need the food to actually taste good. They have so many different options and variations, and everything is listed right out for you. And I just make sure that my calorie intake is matching what I want. The amount of protein that I'm intaking is matching what I want. Fiber, all those good stuff. So the nutrition aspect has been a game changer for me, and I'm looking forward to showcasing that when I get in the ring.
Yeah, that's an important thing because food is fuel. I'm a certified
Definitely.
nutritionist myself. I used to be a personal trainer on my side gig, and I know for me, one of the reasons why one of my show sponsors, Prevail Nutrition, is because of the fact that people don't understand that when you actually eat real food, it changes everything for how you function, how you just do everything. And it's sometimes in the smallest shades, you might have someone who might be fat versus carb sensitive, and then just changing one part of their daily meal, it's like an entire life has been turned upside down for the good. So I can only imagine for you actually putting real food in your body, you probably just even feel like you could do more in the gym.
That's so true. Yes. Real food matters. And I definitely all the fighters, but everyone, just anyone who cares about being a healthier person, to look into eating real food, even if you're not obviously here in New York City and you don't have access to a Matter Formula. You cook cook on your own. Find the time to even do your research and find places where you can find real food, because exactly what you just said, I feel so much better in my training. I feel like I can do more with knowing what I'm putting in my body versus going to a restaurant and just picking something that looks good.
Come on for Josh Popper here, Holy Spirit High School graduate, undefeated heavyweight boxer, fighting next Saturday, March 7th, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Josh, coming into this fight, obviously it's first quarter of the year. What is your goal? You have like a goal, like to fight a certain amount of like fights this year? Like, is there like a number that you're kind of like wanting to get in?
Yes, I'm looking to fight at least 5 times this year. So this will be the first one that I'm scratching off. And I know obviously we missed out January and February, but planning on getting in the ring again in April. And then from there, definitely tackling those 5 fights this year and putting myself in a position to where at the end of the year, I'm in a great spot where I have shown what I can do. I've leveled myself up as far as the rankings go. And my goal is to be a champion. So some belts. My bad. I feel like, am I losing you here? Can you hear me still?
We got you back now. Yeah, you kind of like dropped there for a second, came back.
Unfortunately, Josh, I'm not able to hear you, but I think you can still hear me, right?
Yep.
Beautiful. So I can't hear you guys, but I got you. My plan is to finish out the year strong and put myself in a position so that the following year I'm able to definitely go after some belts. That's my plan. I want to be a champion. I want to be a world champion, and I feel like I have the potential to do that, and I will do that.
Well, we don't know if Josh can still hear us, but we'll let you go because your phone is not cooperating fully. But Josh, we appreciate you jumping on again Saturday, March 7th, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Take care, my friend, okay?
You're the man, Josh. I'll see you guys soon. I'll see you, Alex.
See you.
Absolutely. Josh
Have a
Popper
good
joining
one.
us here on 97.3 ESPN. Technology is a beautiful thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's one of those deals where, Alex, how many times have you been back here in the studio and, somebody is either on the phone, I can hear them, they can't hear me. So it's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah, let's just go with that. Not stressful at all. Not, pulling my hair out or anything back here.
Well, you have plenty of hair to pull out.
Okay. I did just get a haircut, but yeah.
No, but seriously, I am looking forward to seeing Josh Popper back in the ring again next Saturday, March 7th. Because part of the thing with this fight card is he's one of many local fighters on the card. We'll hear from Julio Sanchez III coming up at 2 p.m. But I talked with Justin Figueroa, another Holy Spirit High School graduate, a couple weeks ago. And Justin's kind of doing the same thing, by the way. Justin is changing his fight camp. He's training with new fighters, pushing himself to elevate. Leah Lewandowski, she's doing the same thing for Berlin, New Jersey. Talked with John Leonardo a couple weeks ago. It's one of those things where a lot of local fighters, I think they're starting to realize that they actually can do more, right? It's like they're almost realizing that, hey, I can elevate. I can push myself harder. I can make more out of this. And I think it's a beautiful thing that when you see an athlete say, you know what? I want to be better. I want to do more. I want to be the best version of myself. And you heard whether it's Josh Popper talk about, getting with the right kind of nutrition, whether it's someone like Justin Figueroa saying, hey, I wanted to go to Philadelphia and, fight some like different people who are different, weight classes. I think it's very important for any athlete to challenge themselves and not just, do the same thing all the time. I mean, for as much as I might criticize, for example, we have the Phillies in the corner behind us, we've criticized Alec Boehm over the years for kind of have a level of complacency. And coming into his free agent year, what did he do? He came in stronger. He came in more focused. That's what you want from the athlete. You want the athlete to actually say, hey, I can do more with my potential.
Yeah, the greats, they always adapt and they always find ways to make themselves better. That's what Josh was even saying there with his diet. He realized, he's putting down the cookies and all that. You can't really do that if you want to be great. You got to lock in, dial in, and change what you were doing to make yourself better. And that's what it seems like all the greats do.
He's Alex Berardis. I'm Josh Hennig, hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Let's check back in the text board here. Haven't got to the text in a bit at 609-403-0973. Again, if you text in your name, where you're from, you can win either tickets to the boxing event next Saturday, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. See Josh Popper, Justin Figueroa, Leah Lewandowski, John Leonardo, and more. Or if you want to win MAC tickets, I got MAC championship game tickets to give away as well. But you got to text in your name and join the conversation at 609-403-0973. DeAndre chimes in from EHT. He says Howie is always helping his coaches get the right players for the scheme, as well as meshing it with getting the best overall player, in the draft 9 out of 10 times. I think he's earned our trust. So he kind of agrees there, DeAndre and EHT, with what we said earlier, Alex, which is, you got to trust what Howie Roseman's doing. You got to trust, I don't want to say trust the process, but, you got to trust Howie, Steven Ventnor followed up and says, do not trade Tanner McKee for anything less than a third-round pick. I will say I don't think that a third-round pick is crazy for this reason. Kenny Pickett got you a fifth-round pick. If Kenny Pickett got you a fifth-round pick, I think we all can agree that Tanner McKee is a higher ceiling than Kenny Pickett does. And as I said, in an NFL where there is a dearth of good young quarterbacks, look at Anthony Richardson. He's demanding a trade out of Indianapolis. Would you rather have Tanner McKee or Anthony Richardson? I think most people would rather have Tanner McKee.
Yeah, no doubt. And what we've been saying with this draft class is, it's not that great. I could see one of these teams, if they're one or two top three guys go off the board already, they're going to get desperate. And then Howie can just ramp that price up a little bit, because how many teams out there are really trading a quality backup or a quality quarterback? Not a lot. So I think the Eagles got a guy who's expendable, and it's not in a position where Howie has to trade him. So Howie could say, I want this. I'm not moving for anything less than that.
Robbie in Little Lake Harbor is not happy with the comment I made earlier on the text board at 609-403, because Rob was talking about we don't know who the next quarterback is going to be. He's still investigating, and I said it should be Taylor Green. Robbie says, you don't know who's going to be the next great NFL player. Look at Ray Rhodes. He went after Mike Mamula, said he looked in his eye, thought he was going to be great. Well, Robbie, here's the thing. I'm not saying Taylor Green's going to be a Hall of Famer, but Rob was asking who could be the Brock Purdy type guy who gets overlooked and ends up being a good NFL quarterback. Mike Mamula got drafted high because he was a combine superstar. He was a guy at the combine who basically measured off the charts, right? So for the Eagles, they drafted him in large part because they thought that he could be, and by the way, Ray Rhodes was a defensive-minded coach, so he probably saw the physical tools and said, this guy's going to be, the great stud, da-da-da. And it's not that Mamula had a bad career. I think that we have, history has kind of mischaracterized it. Was he worth the 7th overall pick in, 95? I think it was the draft. Of course not. But for a guy who had 31 sacks in his career, so basically he had like a sack every other game in his NFL career, that's still a good player. It's just he wasn't worth a high first-round pick. So I don't think Ray Rhodes was wrong about him, but he wasn't a great player. And the thing is, no one knows exactly who's going to be a great player, Robbie, in Little Lake Harbor. It's the idea, that understanding that when we project what guys are going to be, you got to make predictions. You got to be not afraid to call it as you see it. And I'm going to call it as I see it when it comes to Taylor Green. I saw a lot of ability, a lot of potential in college, and I think he could be. Part of being on the microphone is being willing to take risks and have opinions. You think Steven Ventnor's afraid of having an opinion? He texts 20 million different scenarios to the text board at 609-403-0973. You can't be afraid to have a belief. You can't be afraid to have an opinion. Speaking of having opinions, we're going to get into our opinions on the Flyers and the NHL after the Olympic break with Scott Laughlin of SiriusXM NHL Radio coming up on the other side. Don't forget, Flyers coming up today at 3 o'clock here on 97.3 ESPN. And if you're looking for a place to watch the Flyers game, go check out my friends over at Hang Time Bar and Grill in Galloway. Your go-to hangout spot for friends and family looking for a night out or to watch sports is located on the White Horse Pike in Galloway. Hang Time Bar and Grill features live music every Tuesday night, DJ bingo every Wednesday night, and plenty of TVs to watch your favorite team play all year round. Plus, don't miss out on Hanging with Hennig, broadcasting live at Hang Time Bar in Galloway. First weekend of the biggest college basketball tournament of the year on Saturday, March 21st. Check out Hang Time Bar and Grill on Facebook and Instagram to learn more about their weekly specials and one of the best happy hours in South Jersey on the White Horse Pike in Galloway at Hang Time Bar and Grill.
Making your home look brand new is what Work of Art Construction can do for you. Ready to remodel your bathroom or have a kitchen makeover? Art Masker has 40 years of experience in construction and knows how to make your home look like a work of art. Want to install a new back deck or invest in a new front door? Just call Art Masker at 609-788-4271 to learn more. Visit Work of Art Construction on Instagram to see how Work of Art Construction can make your home look brand new. Beautify your home with Work of Art. Call him at 609-788-4271 and let them make your home truly a work of art.
Hi, I'm Michael from the War and Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family is banking on bandwidth. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Plus, get online in no time with same-day Wi-Fi. Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025. Actual speeds vary. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to the premises by coaxial cable.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting Gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning. Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of Gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you too.
I never said that.
Add Gain scent boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products, just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Hey, you know what? There's another name you might know me by. Star-Lord.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Who? Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here at Hanging with Hennig, along with Alex Berardis in 97.3 ESPN studios. Flyers back in action today at 3 p.m. versus the Boston Bruins. Of course, you can hear the game right here on 97.3 ESPN at 3 p.m. Joining us to talk more about who are the Flyers, what is the NHL after the Olympic break. You know, we're counting down to the trade deadline as well. So we got to talk with our guy, Scott Laughlin from SiriusXM NHL Radio. Of course, he is the morning show host on the Daily, on the network, and he joins us right now on 97.3. Scott, welcome back. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Josh?
Doing pretty good. For you, what has been the most interesting storyline coming out of the Olympics? You know, because to me, we all know that some of these guys, you know, their performances in the Olympics has probably amplified some of their trade value. It's probably changed how some of the teams view these guys, right? So, you know, what has kind of been like some of the storylines that come out of the Olympics that has really like amped up your conversation on SiriusXM NHL Radio this week?
Well, I think, Josh, we're always interested to see how players can build off of Olympic experiences, right? For a lot of players, this is the ability on a global stage to take that next step, to almost introduce yourself to the world in some ways. So I'm always interested to see what players like Jack Hughes can do come on out the Olympics. Now, unfortunately for him, New Jersey's so far out of it right now, it's really not going to matter in terms of team success this season for the New Jersey Devils. Connor Hellebuck last night gets back in, gets his first start. Things look good, and then they don't, and he looks more than human as the Jets lose another hockey game. You think of about a guy like Austin Matthews, right? The Leafs are no doubt going to be sellers coming up at the trade deadline coming up on Friday afternoon, and you wonder how he's going to take his game to the next level. Austin Matthews, the captain for Team USA, wasn't necessarily an offensive dynamo at the Olympics, but yet he did a lot of the little things, and I think from a defensive perspective, he was one of the best forwards in the tournament from start to finish, too. So, yeah, I'm always interested to see how these players are going to affect not only their team's success, but how they're going to take that next step and kind of parlay it into more NHL success along the way. For some, it sometimes acts like a little bit of a catapult, and for others, it doesn't necessarily work out that way. But I think for these teams that are no doubt going to be heading to the playoffs, these players will benefit from that experience.
You mentioned this about Hellebuck, and that was a very interesting conversation we had during the Olympic run was, hey, this is a guy who got benched in the postseason before. How is he going to handle this big moment in the Olympics? Well, he basically went toe-to-toe with one of the more clutch postseason guys, Binnington. So it's like he goes and he comes out of the Olympics, and you're thinking, hey, maybe he found something, and now it's like, well, did he find something?
Yeah, there's a bit of a difference, though, right, Josh? I think we'd all concede, right? Playing behind that Team USA squad, as great as it was from top to bottom, all the depth that they had, and we joke going into the Olympics, like Canada and the United States could each probably ice a second team and still have a chance to win a medal. I mean, that's how deep the two countries are right now, too. So, for Connor Hellebuck, it's a bit of a rude awakening. It's back to reality now. You play with a Jets team that's got some holes, and obviously Josh Morrissey, their top defenseman, as he was for Team Canada the final 5 games of the Olympics, just not available at this point. So the fact that they got the loser point last night on the road would benefit them. They're 8 points, and this is where Philadelphia is at, too, with the Flyers having an all but a must-win game against Boston coming up here in a matter of moments, as you know. Winnipeg right now has got some work to do. It doesn't look like it's going to be a good shot for them to make the playoffs in the Western Conference, just as Philadelphia is kind of hanging on by a thread in the Eastern Conference. The reality is, though, is that he's going to have to use that as a building block, and we all know the history, as you say, for Connor Hellebuck. This is a goaltender who's been criticized for not being able to win the big one, to really take his team on a run in the playoffs. Except for 2018 when they got to the Final Four, he has not had a run of success in big-time pressure moments. We even take it back just over a year ago to Four Nations, and Jordan Binnington was the guy for Team Canada that came up with the biggest of all saves in overtime, and Connor McDavid beats Connor Hellebuck. And how would things have been different going into the Olympics had the U.S. won the Four Nations, and what kind of dynamic would that have presented? So I think for Connor Hellebuck, this is the one shining moment he's had from a team perspective. Look, the guy's going to the Hall of Fame, right? He's a Hart Trophy winner. He's won multiple Vezina trophies. He's been one of the top goaltenders of the game for quite some time. That, for him, going back to last Sunday, was the cherry on top of the sundae. This will solidify his spot, I think, in the Hockey Hall of Fame someday. Still with a lot of hockey left to play, with term left on the contract. He's got some opportunities here, not only this season, but for years to come, to really change the narrative even further.
Scott, speaking of guys who, their stock may have risen or dropped due to the Olympics, is actually one of the Flyers defensemen, Travis Sanheim. I think for right now, me personally, I think the Flyers should just sell. I don't think they sold good enough in this whole new era of Orange thing. I think they kind of tried to do 50-50 on it. They got lucky with Michkov sliding as far as he did. Martone, very exciting prospect, but I still think, as there are right now, not even like a 10% chance to make the playoffs. I would try to offload guys like Sanheim, Konechny, try to work these guys out where you can get a good value on them now rather than wait another year or two where their value can drop.
Well, it's an interesting premise. I guess I think each general manager, and this includes Danny Briere, right? Every general manager sits back at this point, and I think they know where they're at. Some teams are clearly not going to the playoffs, and they're heading for the draft lottery, and they're full midst right now in the middle of a rebuild. Other teams are saying, you know what, with a little bit of fine-tuning here or there, we could be more of a serious player next season. I think Philadelphia is probably going to be in that category. I would put the Toronto Maple Leafs in that category. I don't think that they're going to strip it right down, and they're going to take many serious calls on the likes of Matthews or Nylander or anybody like that. you keep your nucleus players, you go forward, you try to add during the off season, whether that's at the deadline coming up next Friday, or whether it is during, in fact, the clear-cut off season in the summer and getting free agency on July 1st. I think you go from there. So I think for each general manager, you take inventory now. How close are we? How far away are we? Can we contend next season? And by contending, I mean getting back to the playoffs. Or is this going to be a multiple-year type thing? I would put Philadelphia in that Toronto conversation right now where I don't think that they're that far off. Are they going to make the playoffs this time around? Likely not, as you mentioned, with the odds stacked against them. But I don't think that they're that far off. So you still have to identify a nucleus. And to me, I think Sanheim still stands in there as a nucleus player for the Philadelphia Flyers. So they may prove otherwise, and they might think differently. But I think you got to have some building blocks on the back end. Rasmus Ristolainen certainly is a guy that teams will be calling about, and he's coming off a very, very impressive Olympics for Team Finland. So I think when you look at it, he's the type of guy that teams would maybe go after, and with a year left on his contract, he could be had.
Scott, you got to let me in right into where I want to ask you about. Scott Laughlin from SiriusXM NHL Radio joining us here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. You know, you mentioned about Sanheim. You know, Sanheim is a guy that we saw in the last couple of years. When he plays with higher level talent, he actually looks like a really good defenseman. But when you're asking him to be the A1 plus guy on a defense, it's not as great. And to me, I want to see them trade Ristolainen, not because I hate Ristolainen, but because I'm hoping you might get some pieces in return to maybe start building up that back end. Because really, no offense to previous Flyers defensemen, Scott, but they have not really had a great back D-man since Eric Desjardins.
Yeah, I think that's fair, Josh. I really do. Look, I mean, the Cam York thing certainly didn't work out. Came in with a lot of fanfare, and look, still a work in progress, clearly. So, yeah, I think, look, I mean, if you're going to be a Stanley Cup contender eventually, you need to have a deeper blue line, and you need to surround him with a little bit more. You know, I bring up the Toronto conversation with regards to where they're at in their development and progression, and they're not going to strip it down, but they're not going for the Stanley Cup this season either. Sort of in that Philadelphia vein, I think are going to fine-tune here as we go forward, and whether that's moving a few pieces out or bringing in a few subtle pieces to help an unlikely playoff push, that remains to be seen. But Toronto's in that same boat. They don't have a back end that really has a dynamite stud defenseman. For the longest time, Morgan Rielly in a lot of ways was miscast by the Toronto Maple Leafs and thinking he'd be that guy. And Rielly's sort of in that Sanheim vein, I think. I mean, Sanheim certainly had a lot more international experience playing, as you say, Josh, against best on best. But I would look at those situations as well as being pretty similar. So, look, the reality is you need to have a deep blue line. Not everybody's the Colorado Avalanche. You know, not everybody's going to be a Dallas Stars stacked back end where, you know, you have a team that you know on paper and in reality can contend for a Stanley Cup. That's what Philadelphia is trying to get back to, certainly. It's been a while, as Flyers fans know, but I don't think that you move guys like Sanheim out if you're looking to build up your back end. And, you know, maybe, you know, to your point, maybe it gets to a situation where he is surrounded by a better depth of talent, and that does bring out the best in a guy like Travis Sanheim.
Scott, us Flyers fans, you know, we're getting pretty accustomed to this whole draft lottery thing. So, like, let's take a look at some of these prospects. Like, Gavin McKenna, years coming up, was undoubtedly going to be the first overall pick this year. Kind of had a slower start at Penn State. Now he's kind of just kicked it into gear. But you got guys like Keaton Verhoff, Ivar Stenberg. I think, me personally, McKenna should always have been the number one prospect, and now he kind of seems like he's really found his stride. Just had an 8-point game a few nights ago for Penn State. Is McKenna still that number one prospect on the board?
Yeah, I think so. And going back to last weekend against Ohio State with the 8 points, and then the very next night he follows it up with the overtime winner, I think he's more than solidified it. I know there was the off-ice situation. It looks like that was a little bit blown up a little bit further than it probably should have been at that point. So I don't think there's any way that McKenna the rest of the way is not the top pick in the draft in Buffalo coming up in late June. The interesting thing, you mentioned Stenberg. I mean, he was so good for Team Sweden at the World Juniors, right? Really improved his stock at the World Juniors. I think that'll be a dynamite fight between him and Verhoff to see who goes number 2. You look at Verhoff, he was a bit player for Team Canada at the World Juniors, and was a depth guy that, I mean, looking back, I mean, people were saying, hey, why is this kid not being shown as getting more ice time? As we know, it's known as a quote-unquote 19-year-old tournament for the most part, so maybe this year was not the year for Verhoff for Team Canada at the World Juniors. Maybe it's more like next year being the year where he takes on more responsibility with more time on ice. But I think I love the measurables from Verhoff, right? Big 6'3", 6'4" defenseman, 200-plus pounds. I think it's going to really mature into a top-end guy that can very likely not necessarily be a guy that'll be in your top pairing. I think there's the potential for him to be a top pairing guy. At the very least, he'll be a 3-4. So I think you can't go wrong there. And we talk about Philadelphia and teams like that trying to build the depth up on the back end. A kid like Keaton Verhoff coming in, Keaton Verhoff would be a real nice acquisition.
Scott, a couple more for you before I let you go. You know, you mentioned about the Flyers and, you know, where they are. You know, they are a team that's in a weird spot because, you know, they're not trying to necessarily tank, right? This isn't like the NBA where, like, teams go out and tank. You're still trying to develop young players. Talk about the dynamics of, hey, we got guys like Mishkov. We got guys like Zegras. We're trying to develop these young players like Noah Cates. But then also be like, you know what? We really, really need more young talent in the draft.
Well, you know what? Look, hockey's different. We know, and we know when you compare it to the NBA. I mean, there is no comparison. And I've always felt this way, guys, that when you look at the NHL, players always want to win. They always want to win. Make no mistake about it. Coaches always want to win. Make no mistake about it. You're not going to have Rick Tocchet. You guys know Rick as well as anybody down there in Philly. He's never going to be the type of guy that mails it in. He wants to win and win as much as possible here down the stretch in the final, 24 games. So I think, you know, when it comes to hockey in particular, we have seen teams, general managers step up and say, you know what, it's not our year. Let's improve the draft odds. You know, let's sell off every possible piece that we can. And therefore, you know, in some strange way, you are affecting the productivity and the win rate for your team down the stretch. Coaches and players are always going to want to win, and that is what I think makes the NHL very special in the fact that guys aren't pulling the plug. There's no load management going on. The only thing we're seeing now, guys, that's come into play is roster management is the new phrase, right? Roster management, where guys get held out like a Tyler Myers out of the Vancouver lineup because we think that there could be a shoe to drop here where he could get traded. So in a lot of ways, that's more like baseball when you come up on the trade deadline and a healthy guy gets scratched because you know he's not going to be there for much longer. But beyond that, any player that's in the lineup is going to want to play to win. The coaches play to win. The general managers can orchestrate things a little bit differently and kind of pulling the strings from that general manager's chair to affect your team. But for the most part, there's never, ever going to be not a buy-in by players and coaches to win hockey games. And I would expect that would be the case for the Philadelphia Flyers down the stretch. Whether or not they make the playoffs or not, clearly in huge question right now. And as we say, this game against Boston is all but a must-win for Philadelphia, being 8 points back, and with the Bees holding on to that second wild card in the Eastern Conference.
That's where I wanted to go, Scott, before we let you go. You mentioned about Boston. Boston's hanging on by a thread to that final wild card spot. It's such a weird world we live in, right? Boston's hanging on to a wild card spot. Florida is basically in the same spot as Philadelphia in the points right now. It's like you have teams that historically have been there, and like somehow Buffalo is like a major contender right now. So who are the Boston Bruins right now that the Flyers are facing today?
Well, I think the Boston Bruins are a team that has seen Jeremy Swayman have a remarkable comeback. I know he let in that goal from center ice at the Olympics. Will be on his resume for quite some time. But beyond that, Swayman's had a real big bounce back, and you know that's an example, and maybe that's something the Flyers fans can kind of draw from. When you look at Boston last season, you want to talk about night and day. The Bruins were just, and we know that they were dealing with the McAvoy injury coming off of Four Nations, and he never did play again as their top defenseman the rest of the way for the Boston Bruins. So last season they really sunk. Don Sweeney was pretty upfront about the fact that, hey, look, this is a one-off. We're going to retool this thing. They ended up with a guy like James Higgins in the draft in the first round, which is really going to benefit them in going forward. So I think they kind of took it on the chin for that one season. And I know in Philadelphia it's been a longer process of building, and the Bruins certainly have had much more in the way of playoff appearances and success in the NHL and when it comes to the Stanley Cup playoffs. But I think there's a good example to set there. Boston is a player right now. They feel like they're going to add coming up at the deadline. They've had a remarkable resurgence and a guy kind of emerge in Morgan Geekie, kind of much the way that a guy like Owen Tippett did a number of years ago, playing, of course, under the coaching staff there in Philadelphia. So I think that you look at the Bruins, they're looking to add some offense up front, I would think, in the top 9 at the very least to fine-tune things a little bit. They've got a superstar in David Pasternak, and that's a pretty good place to start as well. But this Bruins season has been much different. The previous season was all about Swayman and his contract. Is it getting it done? They offered him $64 million. Why isn't he signed? Well, he eventually did sign for in and around that much, and had a bit of a late start to training camp, and that kind of pushed it uphill for Boston all season long. This season, the bounce backs occurred for some of the reasons and players that I mentioned there too. So Boston feels like they're in it to win it right now. As to whether or not they can hold off the Caps and the Jackets and the Senators and the Flyers, we'll have to wait and see. But right now, they put themselves into a pretty good spot.
For more NHL coverage all week long, SiriusXM NHL Radio Morning Skate is where Scott Laughlin is each and every week. He joined us right here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Scott, appreciate you jumping on today.
Anytime. Thanks, guys. Enjoy.
Josh Hennig along with Alex Berardis hanging out with you here on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See how to forget Hanging with Hennig being brought to you by my friends over at Work of Art Construction. Work of Art Construction can make your home look brand new, and after the snow blizzard that blew through, maybe you want a new back deck. Maybe you saw that your windows or front doors are maybe not in tip-top shape, or maybe you got tired of staring at your bathroom being stuck in your house for a week and you want to remake over the bathroom. Call Art Masker at 609-788-4271 and learn more about Work of Art Construction. Make your home look brand new. Beautify your home with Work of Art Construction by calling them at 609-788-4271. Let them know you heard about them on 97.3 ESPN, and they can give you 10% off your next home project. Yes, Work of Art Construction, 609-788-4271. 10% off your next home project. Let them make your home look like truly a work of art with Work of Art Construction. We'll wrap up the 2 o'clock hour. Check out the text board next, 609-403-0973. Josh Hennig, Alex Berardis, hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN FM and streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. Just follow at Josh Hennig. Tired of cooking and planning all of your meals each and every day? You need Prevail Nutrition to simplify your life. For almost a decade, Prevail Nutrition is a local meal prep company located in South Jersey that allows customers to design their own meal plan. Or you can choose from a wide variety of chef-designed meals on their weekly changing Prevail Selects menu. You can order online for pickup or get free delivery on orders of over $50. Prevail Nutrition delivers to Atlantic and Cumberland counties along with Ocean City. Or you can pick up your meals every Monday and Friday. Learn more about how Prevail Nutrition can simplify your life. Visit their website at prevailnutrition.club. Check out Prevail Nutrition on Facebook and Instagram. Prevail Nutrition is my go-to choice for prepared meals and foods. Order online, like me, at prevailnutrition.club.
For 23 years, we've helped athletes at all levels at Clemic Performance Method. From youth to pros, increase maximum velocity, acceleration, vertical leaps, and general physical preparedness. We offer youth, high school, and pro college classes. Our proven results have earned national recognition from NFL coaches, sponsors, and a feature on ESPN Radio's Sports Science segment. You can contact me directly at 609-742-6190, or as always, visit us on our website, clemicperformancemethod.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed, plus an extra $100 off all mattresses. And Saturday, only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
Wendy's has a new Girl Scout Thin Mints Frosty Fusion with Girl Scout Thin Mints cookie pieces, rich creamy frosty, and a mint chocolate cookie sauce. Which means Girl Scout Thin Mints and Wendy's Frosty, yeah, they're basically best friends now. It's like 2 delicious desserts just high-fived, snapped a few too many friendship selfies, and then rode a tandem bike down a never-ending road of mint chocolate frosty perfection. So, swing by Wendy's and try the new Thin Mints Frosty Fusion.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. a personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City, a community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different.
Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hey, it's Mike Gill. Have you checked out the most loved Indian restaurant in South Jersey? The Nizam's Indian Restaurant on Route 40 in Egg Harbor Township is amazing and ready to serve you delicious Indian dishes. NJ.com ranked them the #2 best restaurant in all of New Jersey. At Nizam's, they believe that dining is more than just great food. It's the whole experience. The Nizam's open 7 days a week from 11:30 a.m. to 9:30. Join them for a special lunch buffet on Sundays from 11:30 to 3. Visit thenizams.com for more information.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
People will come, Ray.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
People will most definitely come.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here with Alex Berardis in 97.3 ESPN Studios, 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle, streaming live on YouTube and X at Josh Hennig. Don't forget, still to come, we will be talking with Pleasantville High School graduate who will be fighting next Saturday, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Julio, Sanchez, the third one coming up in about 10 minutes from now here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get back to the text board now. Remember, if you text in your name, where you're from, and let me know what you want to win, you will be in the running to win either a pair of MAC basketball tickets or a pair of tickets to next Saturday's boxing event, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Jeff Port Norris, well, he liked the conversation we had with Scott Laughlin. He says, hey, Josh and Alex, I really like that piece you guys did with Scott. Learned a lot. Good job. Well, thank you, Jeff from Port Norris, for tuning in to 97.3 ESPN. More text coming on. 609-403-0973. Joey Diavender says, Josh is back on the radio and it feels like spring out. I wasn't on last week, so I will mention maybe that's part of the reason why he said that.
Apparently, it's supposed to be like not reach above freezing for the next like 2-3 days.
Good. I like that. Melt some of this stupid snow. 609.
No, it's not supposed to get above freezing.
Oh, it's supposed to get cold again.
Yeah.
Oh, well, darn it.
Yeah, that's why I was like, hold on, what?
Oh, I must have misheard you then. My bad. George at Summers Point chimed in on the text boards. Hey, Josh and Alex, great show today. Really appreciate you guys highlighting the local sports scene, especially with these athletes from the area that are involved, like Josh Popper. By doing it, I think you inspire more athletes in the area to achieve their highest potential. Well, thank you, George Summers Point. That's a very positive feedback kind of text coming in. A lot of good vibes coming in here on the text board today.
It's the weather. It's the nice sun. It's the warmth. I'm telling you.
JW in Ocean City chimes in at 609-403-0970. Says, I am confident that Howie will do the right thing. You can't have one of your best players be unhappy and causing distractions on your team. I think he will be smart enough to make sure that whatever he does with A.J. Brown, somehow we will either get something back like a receiver or a draft pick that we can draft a top-flight receiver, says JW in Ocean City. And listen, I got the guy for you. There's a couple guys in this draft that if you were to trade A.J. Brown, I love Denzel Boston of Washington. He's almost 6'5". He's got like freakish like twitch for a guy that size. Can you imagine a 6'5" guy and Devontae Smith on the field together? Like, that would be a good young guy to put across from D. Smith. I think the question is, if you kept A.J. Brown, do you then draft a guy like Chris Bell, who's almost like a duplicate of A.J. Brown, and then kick D. Smith into the slot? Because remember, when Sean Mannion was in Green Bay, Alex, they ran guys like Romeo Doubs a lot in and out of the slot. And Devontae Smith, when he scored that touchdown in the national championship game, where was he lined up? In the slot.
I think it's just going to be interesting to see if AJ Brown gets moved, when it takes place, before or after the draft. With the whole, because I think if it's after the draft, it's definitely going to be after June 1st, so that cap hit isn't as big as it would be. But I think that, like, if you're not going to move him until then, do you go after a guy that's exactly like him? Or I would.
I mean, like physically built like him.
Yeah. There's a lot of receivers in this draft to where they all kind of feel in that same level of skill. Also, there's not one. Maybe Mekhi Lemon is one of those guys who's just.
Dude, did you see Mekhi Lemon's media availability this week?
It was interesting.
It was creepy. Like him and the whole like the head movement thing. Every time he answered a question, it was like that. Like he was vibing on something that you and I ain't vibing on. That's. I'll just put it that way.
Maybe he's just on life.
He's on something.
He's just on life. But look, because I still think that Devontae Smith could be a number one on this team in this league. So if you are going to move off of A.J. Brown, I'm fine waiting to draft another receiver. I'm more concerned with that offensive line, as I've brought up numerous times today.
Goody and Galloway chimes in at 609-403-0970. Says, I think the Eagles are a victim of their own success. If trading McKee, that's the third-round pick, we should do it. We need to restock the trenches on both sides of the ball. Too many guys on defense will need new contracts in the coming years, and we will need some new rookie contracts to balance out the roster, says Goody and Galloway. That's probably a very well-balanced answer to that. Both trenches, he says, they should line up. More text coming in. Angie in Tuckerton chimes in at 609-403-0970. She says, I think more athletes need to cross-train with yoga. Professional athletes, especially men, have shorter lifespans in general population because they spend years pushing their bodies past the boundaries. Soft tissue injuries in players like Lamar Jackson and A.J. Brown are perfect cases in point of why yoga needs to be treated more like a regular oil change. It's an interesting take. I don't disagree with her. I think that, because of my fitness and health and fitness background and with my NASM certifications, is that yoga definitely would help. And I think for if not even high-level athletes, Alex, I feel like if you're just like anybody who's trying to be active, having different areas, like Josh Popper says swimming, Angie Tuckerton says yoga. I think any of those types of like, different ways of challenging the body but still getting exercise are good ideas.
I honestly probably should look into that more because I'm one of the most stiff, like, can't move type people that there is. My senior year, my buddy Matt Fleisch and I, we had to sign up for a yoga class. We were taking this kinesiology class, so we had to sign up for a yoga class. It was one of the more tough things that I've done. Like, it was, if you're hating on yoga or think it's nothing special, take a class and then get back to me because it was an absolute workout.
Yeah, I think people forget that yoga, people have this idea that yoga is like for like, people who are like spiritual and everything, when really a good health and fitness yoga class and teacher is going to be less about the spiritual, it's going to be more about the fitness. Like for me, when I took it years ago, it was a lot of core work, right? It was a lot of people just like, because for me, they combined like, yoga and Pilates. So like you were like drenched in sweat by the end of the thing. You were like, what did I just do for an hour and a half?
It's legit. Like I was struggling. I was hurting a little bit, but that's how you know it's a good workout.
We'll get more text messages on the other side. I see Glenn and Abseekin chiming in as well as others at 609-403-0970. William K.B. Cordalis, I see you as well. Coming up, we'll talk more boxing. Julio Sanchez III from Pleasantville will join us on the other side. Again, Boxing Insider Promotions return to the Tropicana showroom in Atlantic City next Saturday, March 7th, with a stacked lineup of local fighters, including we heard from Josh Popper from Holy Spirit High School about an hour ago. Talked to Justin Figueroa a couple weeks ago here on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, Justin Figueroa, NABF belt holder, undefeated 14-0, as well as rising star in women's boxing ranks, Leah Lewandowski. We talked with John Leonardo a couple weeks ago as well here on 97.3 ESPN. And Julio Sanchez III from Pleasantville High School will join us next here on 97.3 ESPN FM. The 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle, streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio at Josh Hennig, Alex Berardis, hanging out with you. Third hour coming up, 97.3 ESPN.
Listen up. The soap you shower with, it's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed, hand-cut soap for men. Men who use their hands. Men who build things. Men who catch foul balls without spilling their beer. You won't just smell good either. Your skin will be healthier and more nourished. We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. Turn your shower game up to 11. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive.
Hey, this is Josh Hennig. Go to my social media and click my exclusive Dr. Squatch link for your chance to save $10 off your next order of great natural soap, deodorant, and much more. Only with Dr. Squatch.
Sunday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein, producer Alex Berardis, my twin brother Bobby Schwein, and my intern Erin Ewing joined me in the studio. We'll continue our Phillies spring training report with Paul Lundholm, live from Clearwater. Hour 2, Mr. Negadelphia PJ Korda checks in with his thoughts on the Phillies sports team, brought to you by the Vassar Pool Service. Then we'll recap the Flyers Bruins Saturday night action and preview the Sixers Celtics. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Sunday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
Every choice you make matters. Whether you're dining out, grabbing takeout from your favorite local spot, or shopping for that perfect outfit at a neighborhood boutique, you're giving back to your community. It's not just about supporting businesses. It's about strengthening connections and keeping our community vibrant. Town Square Media South Jersey is proud to shine the spotlight on local businesses that make our area special. First Bank of Sea Isle, Cape May County's community bank. Broadleys is your local source for plumbing, heating, and air conditioning service and installation since 1911. Call 609-390-3907 or visit broadleys.net. Sweetwater Marina and River Deck. Enjoy dinner and drinks by the riverside or host your special day upstairs in our event space. Boardwalk Honda does business the right way. Transparent pricing and no hidden fees. Visit them today. And Storybook Land. Create your own story at Storybook Land. Thank you for supporting your local businesses. From Town Square Media, South Jersey.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles,
They've got him! It's a sack!
Sixers,
Oh, baby!
and Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity. Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Josh Hennig.
Hour 3 of Hanging with Hennig, 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. We'll get back to the text board in just a bit at 609-403-0973. You know, Willie K. Courthouse said that, you know, all this boxing conversation has got his juices flowing again. Well, we're going to continue the boxing conversation now. One of the fighters who will be a part of Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City, Boxing Insider Promotions presents their next fight card, the first action-packed fight card of 2026. Julio Sanchez III from Pleasantville joins us now as another fight, local fighter. We've been interviewing all the local fighters who will be a part of the fight card next Saturday. I keep saying Saturday, March 7th. It actually literally is next Saturday. Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Julio Sanchez III joins us right now. Julio, welcome in. How you doing today?
I'm good. How y'all?
Doing pretty good. So talk to us about what the fight camp has been like for you. Obviously, you know, you've been fighting in Atlantic City multiple times now. So for you, what has been maybe like the change or the variable as you enter 2026?
For me, camp-wise, it ain't really been no different. More like getting used to it, getting used to the lifestyle, and getting used to being in camp. Obviously, this camp, if you follow us, y'all know that we lost our gym due to a fire. So the only difference would be just training in other places, not training in our home gym. But as far as camp and cutting weight and all that, I'm getting used to it now, so it's not really no difference.
You say getting used to it. Obviously, you're a guy who played sports in high school, so being an athlete is not unfamiliar to you. So when you say getting used to it, explain to the audience like, what for you has been like the biggest change now being a professional boxer.
Discipline. Every other sport, of course, it's the same work ethic and stuff put into it, but you don't gotta watch what you're eating. You don't gotta monitor your weight. You don't gotta watch how much you intake and stuff like that. So it's just discipline.
And talking about discipline, obviously, for those who don't know, your dad is your coach. You guys with Crown Boxing over there. For your dad, has there been something that maybe he has given you some advice entering 2026 that maybe, kind of like maybe like for you is kind of like sunk in? Because I know your dad is a guy who's got a lot of pearls of wisdom he throws around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he always throw little stuff in there. I can't get him out, but he just makes it easier for our whole stable, because he's been there before. So, not really more so advice a lot of times, but just knowing how to deal with us and showing us little stuff to make things easier.
Julio Sanchez III joining us right now, Pleasantville High School graduate on 97.3 ESPN. Next Saturday, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City is his next bout. He's part of the Stack, the local group of fighters on the fight card. Julio, we talked with Josh Popper about an hour ago, and one of the things that he mentioned was the idea that, as he starts growing and evolving as a fighter, he wants to keep challenging himself. Has there been something for you? Obviously, the fire that you guys dealt with is a totally separate, set of logistical challenge. But as a fighter, is there something that you're trying to challenge yourself with in 2026?
I think this year is just me trying to prove myself and make the non-believers into believers. Just prove it to myself that I'm a fighter and this is what I want to do and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm gonna make a name for myself this year.
Do you have an idea of how many times you want to fight in 2026?
Not really an idea. I just want to fight as many times as I can. I really leave that up to my team and stuff. And whenever they say we going, I just make sure I'm prepared and ready to go.
You mentioned about being prepared and ready to go. Is there something that you have learned from your past fights that maybe can help you be more prepared and ready to go? Because I know, there's a huge difference between the first time when you made your pro debut and then when you fought last time in November. You've gotten better at being a guy who starts quicker. You've become better at, getting yourself moving faster. So has there been something else maybe that you have kind of picked up and says, hey, I need to, get started sooner? Or maybe it's something where you're like, hey, I can use my length, because you do have good length as well. I think that's forgotten by some people.
Mm-hmm. Not really. I just say I'm getting used to everything about the sport, everything that go into it. Just learning how to take my time, when to pick it up, when to slow down. I'm just getting used to the fighter lifestyle. Everything about it, I'm getting used to it. It's getting more easier and easier for me as the farther I go.
You say with the lifestyle, do you have a favorite food that you've kind of zeroed in on for a training camp that kind of keep you on weight track here?
Favorite? I don't know about any favorites.
It's not bad.
I'll probably say salmon and shrimp. I tend to eat a lot of salmon and shrimp during my camps.
Okay, so then after you win on next Saturday, what's the first thing you're going to eat then? Since camp food has been a little, camp food's been a little dicey then.
I don't know. Every 5 minutes it change. Right now, I don't know. I might need a cheesesteak and some fries or something like that. Something greasy.
Something extra greasy just to
Yeah.
I like that. Julio Sanchez III, really quick, plug your social media and plug your sponsors real quick.
You can follow me on Instagram at Julio Sanchez, Facebook Julio Sanchez. I got any sponsors? No. Yeah, I don't really have no sponsors. I want to shout out DKO Boxing. I want to shout out my dad, all my stablemates, Rodney Brooks, Bruce Allen Jr., Jamil Simmons. I want to just shout out everybody that got something to do with me and us together as a collective.
Awesome. Well, Julio, I look forward to seeing you again next Saturday, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. And tell your dad I said hello, okay?
He right here. He can hear you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right,
How you doing, Josh?
How you doing there, Mr. Julio?
I'm good, man. Just trying to get through this last week.
I know. You're doing a good job, okay? You guys keep up the good work.
I
Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Josh Hennig back here in the 97.3 ESPN studios again. Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Next Saturday, that's when all the fights are out. Julio Sanchez, the third among all the great local fighters. You know, Justin Figueroa, Mr. Atlantic City, of course, be headlining the event and one of the NABF belt holders. Of course, tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com, but you have the chance to win tickets right now if you text in to join the conversation at 609-403-0973 and let me know you want to win tickets to see the fights. You can get some tickets. I will hook you up. We still have some left over to give away here on 97.3 ESPN. Really quick, Alex, before we get to text board, one of the things that Julio just mentioned that I think is very interesting, that maybe doesn't have a literal parallel, but kind of has an interesting parallel, which is he talked about getting used to the lifestyle and used to like the habit of being a professional fighter. And, you know, one of the debates that's been had, whether it's legitimate or not, you know, people can read into it what they will, but, you know, the whole with Elimination Chamber tonight is the fact that AJ Lee's not had a singles match in like a decade. And, you know, for those who didn't watch the Unreal documentary on Netflix, one of the things that her opponent, Becky Lynch, mentioned in the Unreal documentary was the fact that being a mother, she got out of like, you know, the training and the practicing, and it took her a while to kind of like find her feet again. So there's a part of me that wonders, hearing Julio talk about like, hey, I got to get into the rhythm. I got to get into the discipline. I got to get into the lifestyle of being a fighter. You know, look at someone like AJ Lee, maybe being out of the rhythm of being in the ring as frequently as she used to. Could that maybe impact the match you see tonight?
Yeah, and it's probably also harder because I think there's like in sports in general, it's just getting used to the lifestyle of a basketball player, baseball player, hockey player. But fighters especially, because you have to be able to get into just like that fighter mentality of your entire life. But then you also have to kick it into an even higher gear when it comes like camp time. So there's kind of like two levels that you kind of have to go to be a great fighter.
Well, I think also it's the physicality, right? You know, it's like, for example, the fight announcement that came out a couple weeks ago, for those who didn't see, Gina Carano is going to face Ronda Rousey coming up in May, which, by the way, is the weekend of my birthday, if anybody cares. But, you know,
I care.
Thanks, Alex. It's the idea that, you know, well, Ronda hasn't fought in MMA in a decade. Gina hasn't fought in MMA in like 15 years. And now you're asking two women who, yeah, they're two of the most famous women in women's MMA over the last 20 years, but they haven't even punched anybody or been punched in a long time. And the same thing with pro wrestling, which is like, I've heard pro wrestlers say all the time, like, when you get out of like the rhythm of like that physicality, you're not used to the bumps and the bruises that you get. So to me, I always go to, there's a huge difference between saying, I'm going to do this, and as you said, Alex, I'm going to take it up a notch and do this when the lights turn on.
That's what I'm talking about, that match. I wish I could be more excited for it, because Becky Lynch is probably my favorite female wrestler, just because I think this is the best work that she's doing in her career right now.
Is she the greatest of all time?
People are saying it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I just want to know if you want to be added to Becky's list of people saying it.
Huh. Do I? No, I will. No, she's that good. But, yeah, ring rust is a real thing. Rust in any sport is a real thing, especially with, like, Ronda Rousey. Her at the end of her UFC career the first go around, she fell off. That Holly Holmes knockout really, I think, deflated a lot for her mentally. So her stepping back in after that long of a hiatus is going to be interesting to see.
Well, the problem with Ronda at the end was, and I was very critical of her at the end. And by the way, I was one of the only people who predicted she was going to lose to Holly Holm years ago. That's on the record here at 97.3 ESPN. Holly Holm, I think, was like plus like 700 odds in that fight. That was a nice little win. Cough, cough, wink, wink. But no, on a more serious note, Ronda's problem her last few years in MMA was she never evolved. She never grew as a fighter. She just kind of got to a point where it's like, if I can't beat you with arm bars and judo, then oh well, you know? And while she was great at being one-dimensional, you know, if you stay one-dimensional as a fighter, you never evolve, you never grow. And Gina didn't walk away because she couldn't evolve, she couldn't grow. Gina walked away from MMA because she realized she was going to make a lot more money being a movie star than she was to being a fighter. And at the time, women's MMA was kind of still like in its infancy. So for her, she didn't have a lot of opportunities. Ronda, when she came in, there was way more opportunities for Ronda. So when she walked away from MMA, MMA kind of retired Ronda when she retired. Gina retired because there just wasn't a lot of opportunities, and there was really only one other good woman, and it was Chris Cyborg, and Cyborg was a freakazoid. So, Gina versus Ronda has been a fight for years. But guess what? Getting back into a ring to punch somebody, what's the Mike Tyson term? Everyone's got a plan until they're punched in the face. So it's like, what happens for a Ronda or a Gina, or tonight for an AJ or a Becky? And I'm not being negative about AJ. I was a fan of AJ Lee back in the day. I thought that her spunk and her personality and her storylines were a lot of fun. But when she hits that rope for the first time hard, right? Like, I know she's been in a couple of combo matches, but Alex, when she hits that turnbuckle hard, right? Is the wind going to get knocked out of her, right? Is there going to be a little bit of a slow developing of to do a move or something along the way?
But also kind of similar to how you said UFC women's fighting when they were around was kind of in its infancy stage. That could be the same you could say for women's wrestling when AJ Lee was around, because it's not anything to say that AJ Lee was kind of there first starting out when women's wrestling was first being taken seriously by the company. So even so, I don't think AJ ever had one of those 5-star banger matches that Becky's had multiple times, because
numerous.
Because we're women's wrestling now versus then in a completely different stratosphere.
Well, for example, I said that back at WrestleMania, that women's 3-way match at WrestleMania this year might have been one of the best matches of the entire weekend. You couldn't have said that years ago,
Not at all.
I remember I was doing an interview with Deanna Purrazzo earlier this year from AEW, and one of the things I was talking with her about is I said, the evolution of women's MMA, women's pro wrestling, women's sports in general is we can now say, wow, that women's match, that women's game, it's at a different level. The terms of competition and the athletes are different than they were 15, even 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, I have a favorite women's match now. I think 10 years ago, you couldn't, you could, but there was no real legitimate banger of a match that the women had. So I think that could be interesting to see from AJ's perspective, where it's, you just never had the time. They never had the time given to them either to be able to put on a banger of a match. Becky's been doing it her whole career.
Yeah, and I think that's where the real difference is. We'll get more into our WWE Elimination Chamber thoughts a little bit later this hour. Keep your text coming in at 609-403-0973 for your chance to win tickets to MMA Boxing Insider Promotions next Saturday, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Or you can win MAC basketball tickets. I only got a couple of MAC tickets. I got a few Boxing Insider Promotions tickets. So keep that in mind. We got multiple people texting in for all these tickets. So I'm going to try to isolate all you guys at the end of the show. Keep them coming in, 609-403-0973. Glenn from Absecon chimes in and says, your hockey guy Scott Laughlin said that coaches and players always want to win in hockey. That to me says that coaches and players in basketball maybe don't always want to win. I don't think that's true necessarily, but certain teams put inferior teams on the court. I think those players are want to win. I think the coaches want to win to save their jobs, but they're not good enough to win. There's a huge difference, as Glenn and Absecon. Glenn, I think the problem is that a sport like hockey or football, with the physicality that they have, it's a lot harder to tank because you don't want to get hurt. You're playing hard because if you don't play hard, you could get blasted. I think that's part of the difference. People in hockey and football, they don't tank as much because of the fact that it's a talent thing. It's not a want-to thing. I think those guys want to win. I don't think for example, I don't think the New York Rangers want to lose, right?
Yeah.
I think that they're just not a good enough team. I think that's where the difference is. And I think you're right. In basketball, it's a lot easier to tank because you can play in a way that you're still not going to get hurt. by not putting in 110%.
But I also think it's easier in basketball, more so because it kind of seems like more of the front office decision. Hockey, you can't really play, you can't sit your best guys because it's such a deep lineup. Basketball, you got your 5 starters and then realistically 5 guys coming off the bench. But if you want to, you can sit your starters. You don't have to. You could say, oh, he's got this nagging injury. Like hockey, you can't really do that just because there's so many players that have to play. Basketball, we see this load management stuff all the time now, where I think it's just easier to put out a worse product on the court. Because I do think when these players are out there, they're not intentionally missing shots. They're not giving 50% effort. If they're out there, they're going to give it their all. I just think that the front office is telling the coach, yo, we ain't starting everybody tonight. Let's get some losses, put the scrubs in.
Right. And I think in hockey, the other problem with hockey is that, I keep sighing because I hate saying it this way, but it's true. The draft in hockey is such an inexact science because most of these guys go play college hockey or they go to the AHL or they go to the whatever minor league that they're in, right? And then they develop. You're not drafting a guy to play, you're drafting a guy to develop. Basketball, you're drafting a guy to play. So when you tank in basketball, you're saying, I want Boozer from Duke. In hockey, you may look at McKenna, right, is the big prospect for hockey. Yep. You may look at McKenna and be like, oh, he's a stud, but you have no idea if he's actually going to turn out. Like, for the Flyers, the story was, for those who don't remember, it still makes me mad. So, when the Flyers drafted Nolan Patrick, Ron Hextall really wanted Nolan Patrick. The guys who were the scouts didn't want Nolan Patrick. Well, they passed on a guy who could have been their franchise defenseman named Cale Makar, who went 2 picks later. And there's other instances where the Flyers pick one guy and then another guy who's better gets picked later. And that's the exact science of hockey, which is you might think you're getting a really good player, but then you realize later that the guy might have been picked later or even a round later was better than your guy that you picked. And so for hockey, tanking is really, really, really difficult because even if you get that 2nd, 3rd, or 4th overall pick, your evaluation could be completely off.
Nolan Patrick had some unforeseen circumstances that happened with him, but especially today with the NIL era that we live in, McKenna got offered, I think it was over $700,000 from Penn State to go play there. A lot of these guys can say, hey, why would I go to a not great organization right now? I can go back to college, make money now, as opposed to years ago when these kids weren't getting, well, maybe under the table, but out in the open at the numbers that these kids are getting now they can just say, I'm going to go back to school for another year, party, get money, and go just dominate college. It is smart for these kids to go back. And I do think teams like that, though. They, especially with these bigger programs, they're okay with sending their kids back and just getting more time to develop.
Yeah, and again, develop is the key word you just mentioned. It's the idea that a lot of these guys, they're not ready when they're drafted. And even if you have a guy like a Connor Bedard who gets drafted, Bedard was drafted to a bad team. He probably could have, maybe used an extra year maybe to go do something instead of, getting beat up at the NHL level. Because let's be realistic, he's not the most, he isn't the most physically imposing. He's the antithesis of what Billy Schwein wants.
Bedard just got put in such a bad spot. Now, he's proven it this year that he is deserving of that 1st overall pick. He's been killing it this year.
But it took him 3 years.
But I think that's also, one, he was really young coming out of that draft.
Right, he was 18 years old, right?
But also, he was meant for a team who was they needed that franchise player, and then a year or two later, they're ready to go. You look at San Jose, the amount of young talent that San Jose has when they brought in Macklin Celebrini, and they're still adding because they just drafted Misa 2nd overall this past year, he's played maybe a game this year. He's been just developing as well. Bedard was just put in such a bad spot because they brought him in at the beginning of their rebuild. They had no pieces. They just brought in this Lev Shunov kid who's a stud, but they never had any pieces. It was just him. So he was going up against 1C after 1C after 1C every single night. That's hard for an 18-year-old kid who's got nothing around him to help him out.
He's Alex Berardis. I'm Josh Hennig, hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle, streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios at Josh Hennig. Don't forget, Hanging with Hennig being brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook, the only sportsbook app offering you Caesars rewards. Bet like a Caesar and earn perks on every game, like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app, use my promo code radio250BM, and get your first bet matched as a bonus bet up to $250, whether you win or lose. Open to new users in New Jersey are 21 or older. Minimum odds minus 500. Awarded as a non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet amount not returned for winning bets. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We'll get to more of your texts coming up on the other side. I see Billy in Ocean City. Yes, we know that you are watching lacrosse. I think Billy in Ocean City is like the most diehard lacrosse listener that we have, because Alex is basically the lacrosse guy here at 97.3 ESPN. So we'll get to Billy in Ocean City's text as well as more. And remember, if you text in your name, where you're from, and join the conversation, you can win tickets to the boxing event next Saturday, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City, or MAC basketball tickets. You can't win both. It's going to be one or the other. Text in. Let me know what tickets you want. 609-403-0973. Tired of cooking and planning all of your meals each and every day? You need Prevail Nutrition to simplify your life. For almost a decade, Prevail Nutrition is a local meal prep company located in South Jersey that allows customers to design their own meal plan. Or you can choose from a wide variety of chef-designed meals on their weekly changing Prevail Selects menu. You can order online for pickup or get free delivery on orders of over $50. Prevail Nutrition delivers to Atlantic and Cumberland counties along with Ocean City. Or you can pick up your meals every Monday and Friday. Learn more about how Prevail Nutrition can simplify your life. Visit their website at prevailnutrition.club. Check out Prevail Nutrition on Facebook and Instagram. Prevail Nutrition is my go-to choice for prepared meals and foods. Order online, like me, at prevailnutrition.club.
Making your home look brand new is what Work of Art Construction can do for you. Ready to remodel your bathroom or have a kitchen makeover? Art Masker has 40 years of experience in construction and knows how to make your home look like a work of art. Want to install a new back deck or invest in a new front door? Just call Art Masker at 609-788-4271 to learn more. Visit Work of Art Construction on Instagram to see how Work of Art Construction can make your home look brand new. Beautify your home with Work of Art. Call him at 609-788-4271 and let them make your home truly a work of art.
Matt Black Kia's President's Day prices are so low, it's likely to cause a stampede. 26 Kia Sportage, $129 per month. 25 Kia Telluride, $159 per month. Or finance with 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days.
Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
It's got to be a Matt Black Kia. 24-month leases, $56.99 due at signing, plus licensing, registration, and taxes. No security deposit on approved credit through KMF. Expires month end.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like an estate planner.
Per the contents of the will, all assets go to, what does that say? Ragutataya Yaminayat. Yeah, I don't know. I was in a weird place when I wrote this.
This is a job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture. And then you may carry me to the car
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here on 97.3 ESPN along with Alex Berardis, Hanging with Hennig, Hour 3. And before we get to anything else, I do want to mention that we do have a new sponsor coming on board to Hanging with Hennig. So starting next week, we will be doing a weekly injury report being brought to you by Ivy Rehab and Rehabilitation Network. Yes, Ivy Rehab has multiple locations here in South Jersey. And by the way, they're actually my personal physical therapy and rehab. I've been going there for an injury I sustained last year, and they've been doing a great job at helping me. And I want to let them, all of you, know about the great job they can also do for you. So, Ivy Rehab, physical therapy with locations in Marmora, Cape Courthouse, Ocean City, Summers Point, Egg Harbor Township, Mays Landing, as well as Galloway, Vineland, and Hamilton, and more. Ivy Rehab will be joining us starting next week. Each week we'll do an injury report of the week. We will have one of the doctors, one of the physical therapists come on and talk about the injuries. I can't wait to ask about Joel Embiid and this stupid shin thing. I mean, it's like, first it's his knee, then it's his shin, then it's his ribs, you know. Yeah, I was going to say, well, the ribs thing, everyone understands. He got kneed in the ribs. Like, that wasn't, you know.
This always seems to be on him, though.
But the shin injury is weird, right? You know, or like, for example, who was the baseball player who had a broken ham bone in his hand? You know, like, I don't even know what the heck that is. And I'm supposed to be the smart one when it comes to this stuff, right? So if I don't know, I want to get an expert to talk about it. That's why I'm excited with Ivy Rehab coming on board to do the injury report each and every week, starting next week here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. All right, let's get back to the text board. Get more of your thoughts and comments. 609-403-0973. More text coming in throughout the show. I did want to get to, so Billy and OC chimed in, by the way, earlier, says Cornell lost to Richmond in lacrosse. I'm sure Alex already knows, says Billy in Ocean City.
Yeah, I didn't get to see a ton of it. I was, obviously here doing the show, but I guess Richmond's legit. Cornell, they're both undefeated teams coming into this game. Richmond gets it done at Cornell, too.
Listen, I always look at when it comes to college sports, I can't speak as much to the pro game because I've barely watched any. I've probably watched more college lacrosse by like 10 times more than pro lacrosse, to be perfectly honest. But to me, I look at college sports, no matter what the sport is, there's two types of teams that win. It's the home team or it's the team that just outworks the other team. That's usually what happens. So to me, I kind of look at it as like, if Richmond beat a team like Cornell, it's one of those two reasons, right? Now, I believe the game was at Cornell, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it couldn't have been that reason. So I would assume that they just outworked them. They just outplayed them, right? Like, I mean, that would probably be the explanation for a lot of these situations where if you just outplay the other team, you're probably going to win.
Yeah, lacrosse is so much like hockey in that sense where it's like, I mean, unless you're talking about the gold medal game where USA beat Canada, but if you're getting dominated throughout the game, you're most likely not going to win. USA just had Connor Hellebuck make a few crazy saves that won them that game. But yeah, lacrosse is the exact same, where if you're getting bullied, if you're getting out hustled, you're most likely not coming out on top of that day.
Yeah, and I also think, like you just mentioned about hockey, but to me it's all college sports. Like, you can't name a college sport where if you don't outwork the other team. For example, we get the MAC tournament coming next week to Atlantic City. Starting on Thursday, March 5th through March 10th will be the championship game. Tickets are on sale now on Ticketmaster.com. We have a handful of tickets to give away here on Hanging with Hennig on Nice over 3 ESPN. And I don't know how many times I've been at that tournament, Alex, over the years. And you will see if you go, it's the team that wants it more that wins. Very rarely it's just like, this team's more talented. It's like, no, it's the team that does the rebounding, plays the defense, has the aggression. It's the team that has the want-to that wins. We just saw, in college basketball, how many times has Miami of Ohio almost lost this year, and they're still undefeated? And they're almost losing the teams, not the teams that are outside their conference. They're almost losing the teams in their conference because they're all gunning for them because they all want to be the team that takes out the undefeated team. So to me, I look at college sports as, how bad do you want it? And that's probably who's going to win.
Yeah, I'm going to really try to get over to this MAC tournament. I'm really excited for this.
Well, I might know a guy.
Really?
Yeah, I might know a guy who could help you out.
You guys out there listening right now, you guys could be joining me at this MAC tournament as well.
You could. Or you could. Now, you're going to go to the boxing event next Saturday. You're going to bail on that for some hockey thing.
Whoa. I don't know what I got going on.
You don't know what you got going on from week to week?
No.
You're just living the dream week by week.
I was checking something, and then I just heard a complete shot from Josh. I was, all right. See where we're at now. Caught me off guard. What are your thoughts? What's going to happen tonight?
Elimination Chamber?
Yes.
So here's my thing with Elimination Chamber. I'm looking at each one in what I want to happen versus what I think is going to happen. So, for example, the men's, I think Cody's going to win because I think they really want that Cody versus Drew another round. Because for Drew to interfere with Fatu last night, I felt like that was a clear sign that, they kind of want to create the dynamic where it's like Drew tried to eliminate people, but, now he's got to go face to face with the Nightmare. Now, who I want to win? I really want the Viper to win. I really want the Viper to get that 15th championship. I really want him to get one more run with a belt before, the guy's like 46 years old, right? At some point, Randy is going to, run out of runway. So I really want to see Randy get one more title shot, but I don't know if they're going to let him.
So I really don't know because I think I'm starting to blur the lines between the want and think because I do think Randy will win it tonight, but I think it's to set up a 4-way match at Mania. So I think I have such a bold prediction. I think that Fatu's going to come up like if you remember in 2010, Shawn Michaels did in the Elimination Chamber, comes up through the gate, takes out Cody Rhodes as Rhodes and Randy are the final two.
Here's a theory for you really quick. Maybe it's not Fatu.
Drew?
No. You saw Sami Zayn last night?
I would love that.
What if Sami Zayn's the guy who interferes?
So then I still think it's going to be a Fatal 4, but if that happens, I would have to think Fatal 5 because I think there's just no way that they don't include Fatu, Drew, Cody, Randy. Like they've all been too intertwined with each other. So I see Randy winning it by way of Fatu ruining it for Cody. Yeah, but then that sets up a Fatal 4-way at Mania.
See, I want Randy to win it so then he can win the belt at WrestleMania. He could have one more WrestleMania moment. Give him his moment in the sun because with them basically ending the AJ Styles retirement tour early in the year, I feel like they need to have another golden boy, at the end here. Because Cody's going to be here for years to come. Randy's got maybe 5 good years left in him at this point?
I mean, the way this guy looks, he could go till he's 60.
But did you see the interview he did with Pat McAfee this week?
Saw bits and pieces of it.
One of the things he mentioned in the interview is like he even admitted, he's like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this. He's like, I'm the only guy on the roster with back fusion surgery. He's like, I can't do some of the high flying stuff that like, your Trick Williams and other guys do. And he even admits, he's like, look, he's like, I know I have limitations, so I don't know how much longer. He's like, but he's like, I'm going to keep doing as long as the fans want me to do it.
Well, if that's the case, he ain't leaving ever. If that's
right, but
case.
I mean, he will retire at some point, is my point. The women's elimination match. So I'll give you my heart and my head again, okay? Because the winner is going to face Jade Cargill, right? For the belt.
See, that's where I have my finished. Yeah, should be, but I have a caveat.
Okay, that's interesting. So I want Rhea Ripley to win. I'm a big Rhea person. I think that she's one of the most dynamic people in wrestling today, man or woman. But my head says she's not going to win. My head says it's going to be Raquel Rodriguez because you have both women from Judgment Day at WrestleMania in separate matches. Because I think the setup might be to have Judgment Day both lose at WrestleMania.
See, I have Raquel, but I think she's going to turn it to the elimination from the Rumble where Liv eliminated Raquel and said, you took that spot from me. I'm taking this spot from you. Triple threat. Me, you, Stephanie at Mania.
Can she do that?
Who says she can't? But if it is going to be Jade's, if they're so set on it being to face Jade, I think Tiffy wins it.
See, I think the problem is that Cargill, they need someone to fight Cargill.
They've done her so bad. Like she is like they've just booked her horribly. Where it's really no one cares about it at this point.
No one cares about it, but also like she just doesn't have the energy. She doesn't have like her whole thing is like I'm a physical beast, and it's like, well, so is Jordan Grace. Like what? Like I've seen this show before. Like you saw, like for anyone who watched SmackDown last night, like Jordan Grace basically manhandled. I just forgot her name. LeRae.
Candice
LeRae. Thank you. So, like, I don't need another woman who just manhandles. Like, I think one of the reasons why having, Rhea and Io Sky lose the belts last night was because I think they want to set up another Rhea run.
I think they're going to try to do Rhea Io at Mania.
I don't see that at all. I don't think that makes sense.
I think it's just could be one of those, what was it, Eddie versus Ray back at Mania years ago where we're tag team, but we just got to see who, because Rhea's never beat Io, so I think they're going to try to turn it to be who's the best.
But see, like, when you mentioned, like, Eddie versus Ray, or, like, you and I have talked about the idea of, like, Charlotte and Alexa, right? You're talking about people who were, like, tenuous allies, people who were, like, they were allies out of necessity, not allies out of, like Rhea and Io feel like that's a long-term play. That alliance, like they might like give another shot, like the belts, like at SummerSlam or something kind of thing. Whereas like I think that they need Rhea to be the other physical against the Rodriguezes and the Cargills and the Kiana Jameses and the oh my goodness, who did they just lose to? Nia Jax and all them. Like Rhea need they need a Supergirl. Like, Rhea is like their Supergirl to fight all the villains.
But yeah, that's why I think her and Io not being tag champs anymore, that is that step to where they're not going to be. I think they're done because they put too much stock into this tag division where they kind of lost some star power in the singles main event scene on both brands. So I think now you free up Rhea and Io. And now, see, I really thought Charlotte was going to win the chamber, and then she didn't even qualify. So that kind of really threw me for an absolute loop.
I think they're setting up Charlotte for a different run. I think Charlotte's going to be the one who faces somebody who wins at Mania, at like SummerSlam.
I could see Charlotte winning the U.S. title because they just need somebody to make that thing relevant. I could see them doing exactly what they did with Becky with the Intercontinental, putting a mainstay known commodity who can make that title worth a damn. Because right now,
but see, if that's the case, you should give it to one of the other younger women. Like Like you should
They've
give
tried that, and it just Julia didn't work. Chelsea Green, who I'm a huge fan of, didn't work.
Well, they don't use Chelsea Green right, okay? I mean, Chelsea Green is completely underutilized properly. I mean someone who already has like an established like Tiffy time or a, like an Asuka or someone. Like giving somebody who's got like an established name who's a little younger. You know what I mean?
I just feel like Tiffany, they're just going to try to keep her in the main event. Charlotte doesn't because I think Tiffany, she's so young at this point to where if you keep her out in the main event for long enough, it could damage her in a way.
Okay.
Charlotte, I think there's just no way, she could turn that title into something great like Becky did, where it could be a main event on any SmackDown show.
All right, let's get a couple more of these matches in. Punk's going to win. We all agree, right?
They did that so dirty as well.
Well, I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to create the drama of see, Punk's a fighting champion.
But then they already announced Punk versus Roman at Mania before this match even happened. So it was they're marketing it already as they really did that match such a disservice.
Well, listen, what they should have done is they should have had Punk versus Balor at Elimination Chamber again, and then had Roman Reigns announced after it.
Yes, but they got so scared because of the horrible ticket sales, because it's the price point, and that they're exact same locations they were last year of WrestleMania.
See, that's where it's I think any entertainment entity that's sports related, whether it's the Super Bowl does it right. They change location every single year, all the time.
They did do that, and now here we are back at Vegas.
Right, but that's the problem. I think they are looking at instead of looking at changing arenas, looking at it location. And I think that's where they made the mistake.
They just made this mistake going to TKO and now being corporate and being a publicly traded company.
Well, you can't do much about that.
Yeah.
Do we even care who wins the Women's Intercontinental Championship?
I think Becky wins because I don't see AJ being full-time.
I don't see AJ being full-time either, and I think they need Becky to continue to be a belt-holding villain. You know what I mean?
She's going to – yeah, I love Becky. Her work now, I've said it already, this is the best I've seen her have in her career, and that's saying something.
I don't know if it's the best, but I like the fact that she's leaned into the character. She's leaned into this heel role.
This comment isn't a politically thought, but do you not get Trump when you listen to her speak? I think her promos are very Trumpish to me, but it's in a funny way.
See, when I hear her, I see what you're saying. I'm not saying you're wrong. There is an element of that in there. But see, I kind of get when she talks as more of a parody of a real pro athlete. A mainstream team pro athlete where you have somebody who's like a Kevin Durant. It's I've won All-Star game. I'm an All-Star MVP. I've been an NBA Finals MVP. I'm Kevin Durant. She gives me more a Kevin Durant mock than a Trump mock. But I see when you go with the Trump.
I forget what it was, but I think it was just her describing herself and use those extra adjectives that he always does. I was am I listening to Becky Trump right now? What's going on?
See, I think of Kevin Durant because the way Becky handles her social media. She does her social media like Kevin Durant does.
As fake burner accounts destroying?
No. I mean her main account. Her main account getting mad at people. Durant does that too. Someone will say something and Durant retweet them and be he's I'm an NBA Finals MVP award winner. Who are you?
I love the whole Durant files, the burner accounts where he's just he actually did give props to Ben Simmons in one of those messages.
Yeah, that was weird.
Which was interesting, but hey, Sixers have their draft pick, so hopefully that just crumbles everything.
He's Alex Berardis. I'm Josh Hennig. Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. We'll check it back on the text board one more time before we wrap up the show. Of course, don't forget, Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Being brought to you by friends over at Hang Time Bar and Grill. Flyers game coming up at 3 o'clock here on 97.3 ESPN. You can go watch the game with my friends over on the White Horse Pike in Galloway. Your go-to hangout spot for friends and family looking for a night out or to watch sports is located on the White Horse Pike in Galloway. Hangtime Bar and Grill features live music every Tuesday night, DJ bingo every Wednesday night, and plenty of TVs to watch your favorite team play all year round. Plus, don't miss out on Hanging with Hennig broadcasting live at Hangtime Bar in Galloway. First weekend of the biggest college basketball tournament of the year on Saturday, March 21st. Check out Hangtime Bar and Grill on Facebook and Instagram to learn more about their weekly specials and one of the best happy hours in South Jersey on the White Horse Pike in Galloway at Hangtime Bar and Grill.
For 23 years, we've helped athletes at all levels at Clemic Performance Method, from youth to pros, increase maximum velocity, acceleration, vertical leaps, and general physical preparedness. We offer youth, high school, and pro college classes. Our proven results have earned national recognition from NFL coaches, sponsors, and a feature on ESPN Radio's Sports Science segment. You can contact me directly at 609-742-6190, or as always, visit us on our website, clemicperformancemethod.com.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Progressive knows life takes you in many directions.
Bear right at exit 32, then begin to wonder why you never bought a fish tank. In 1.3 miles, you'll realize you've been mispronouncing epitome your whole life. At the roundabout, you will remember you said something at dinner you wish you hadn't, and will think about it for decades. You have arrived at your destination, but it turns out there really is no destination, and life just keeps going.
Wherever life takes you, protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Wendy's has a new Girl Scout Thin Mints Frosty Fusion with Girl Scout Thin Mints cookie pieces, rich creamy frosty, and a mint chocolate cookie sauce. Which means Girl Scout Thin Mints and Wendy's Frosty, yeah, they're basically best friends now. It's like two delicious desserts just high-fived, snapped a few too many friendship selfies, and then rode a tandem bike down a never-ending road of mint chocolate frosty perfection. So, swing by Wendy's and try the new Thin Mints Frosty Fusion.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Matt Blatt Kia's President's Day prices are so low, it's likely to cause a stampede. 26 Kia Sportage, $129 per month. 25 Kia Telluride, $159 per month. Or finance with 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days.
Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
It's got to be a Matt Blatt Kia.
24-month leases, $56.99 due at signing, plus licensing, registration, and taxes. No security deposit on approved credit through KMF. Expires month end.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Bull is right. You are an ox and a moron.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Hello? Get back in the room.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Wrapping up Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget my friends over at Prevail Nutrition. Make your life simple like I did. Go to prevailnutrition.club and start ordering your meals. Simplify your life with meals every Monday and Fridays for delivery. Prevail Nutrition wants to help you get healthier, and as we are trying to get out of this stupid winter weather and get ready for summer, become your best summer self. You heard Josh Popper talk about it earlier in the show, about how just changing up your diet can change your entire life. I've heard from so many people who I personally know who have tried Prevail Nutrition who have told me, Josh, I feel better after eating this great food. Go to prevailnutrition.club now. Orders free delivery of $50 or more to Atlantic and Cumberland counties plus Ocean City, or you can do pickup in Absecon. Prevailnutrition.club and find out why myself and everyone else is feeling better by eating Prevail Nutrition. All right, wrapping up the show here on 97.3 ESPN. This Flyers game is probably not going to start on time.
No, they've already said it's like 320 or something like that.
That's going to ruin my life. Because, for those who don't know, I actually program the radio station. So I don't know how that's going to affect programming on the station. That's my big concern right now.
We'll figure it out eventually. But speaking of Caden Proctor earlier in the day, he says that he's met with the Eagles and they have expressed a lot of interest in me, per Devin Jackson.
Well, I hope they would. Right?
Yeah.
That's one of those situations where it's like the Eagles are interested. Good.
Jackson said that Proctor told teams his ideal playing weight has been 355 or less and wants to play tackle, but is open to moving inside if teams need him to. So that kind of goes to your point that you brought up earlier.
Yeah, he is projected he could play both guard and tackle. So I could totally see a scenario where they're just like, hey, we're going to draft you to eventually be Lane Johnson's replacement. But for now, we're going to kick you inside, let you go beat up on some tackles for a couple of years. I would love to see that personally.
Yeah, I mean, he's a body, like a massive
I just remember when the Eagles had Brandon Brooks and they won the first Super Bowl, and it was like you kind of looked around and you were like, having those two big boys, like protecting Jason Kelce, how like that helped the team. Like having two big guards just go in there and just rough some people up. Like I'm a big fan of, like, to me, Billy Schwimmer talks about big guys beat up on little guys. To me, it's in football where that matters more than hockey. To me, in football, I need my O-lineman not to be athletic. I need my O-lineman to be a bunch of dudes who are just going to beat the snot out of the other team.
That Big Ten mentality.
Right, exactly. And by the way, it's a little surprising that, the all the Indiana guys didn't like come out in the draft, like the whole offensive line. You know what I mean? Like there could have been a scenario where like the entire Indiana O-line could have been like, yeah, we're declaring for the draft. Never mind. But they didn't. So it's like kind of impressive.
Coach Sig. They want to play for Coach.
They want to play for Coach Sig, and they're probably making a lot of money on the NIL deal.
Yeah. Also, Bryce Harper, speaking of Phillies, getting into that, home run. First home run in spring training since 2022.
Wow. I know you mentioned Dale. I saw the De La Cruz launch. That was a blast he hit earlier. I mean, who's gonna win that job? Is it De La Cruz or is Otto Kemp?
I love Otto. But, I mean, if De La Cruz is hitting jacks like that, like it was a shot. Like, if he's hitting shots like that, I don't know. We'll see. Crawford looked great. Had a double down, Oppo down the line. Schwarber drove him in. I just want to see this team win. I saw a video on my feed today. It was the best announcing calls from the Phillies 2022 playoff run. Real Muto, he can run for days. The bedlam at the bank swing of his life. It was so close. It was right there. And then the next year, Game 6, Game 7, lost. And then the next year, the Mets lost. Then Orion Kirkring lost. And now it's just like the same team. I want to be happy for this team. I really do.
I got to give Steven Ventnor a shout out because he brought this point up the other day, and I looked it up, and he's right. Otto Kemp still has options. So there's a strong possibility that they actually do keep De La Cruz at the big league level, let Otto start in the minor leagues, and then bring him up like when there's like an injury or like something else happens.
I don't hate that. Shout out you for
Well, Steven Ventnor first mentioned it, and then I looked it up to verify it.
So then, see, I think the Aiden Miller thing, I think is going to be down the line. I don't think he makes this opening day roster.
Yeah, I think Aiden Miller's the future, obviously, but I look at Aiden Miller as a guy that like he doesn't need to come up yet. To me, like Crawford, they really wait a long time to get him up. Painter, he was obviously coming off of an injury, so like I expect Painter and Crawford to be opening day, and then Miller to maybe come up if like there's like a long-term injury to like Bohm or Stott.
I've heard, I'm not too familiar with his minor league numbers, but I've heard that Miller is also a
very slow.
Like to start off the year, he's not too hot, but once he kicks it into groove after a month or two, like he's blistering hot. So yeah, it's probably nothing but best for him if he is just in AAA, getting his groove down, getting his timing ready. And then, yeah, if we get an injury, hopefully we don't, but we got a stud who can come in and settle things down.
I think the long-term plan is they're going to let Bohm walk, and Miller's going to be the third baseman. I think that's what's going to happen, personally.
I thought it was interesting when Howie Roseman was saying, we're trying to get better, and you can't do that by subtracting. Well, the Phillies just did that by kicking Nick Castellanos to the curb.
Oh, stop. Castellanos is not that good.
That's what I'm saying. We got better by kicking him to the
curb.
curb.
We got better by kicking him to the curb.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were saying.
No. I was saying the Phillies literally just got better by subtraction.
Yeah, they did. Also, by the way, Garcia's going to be good this year. Can we stop acting like Garcia is like some horrible player?
Yeah, I think it's people want that 23 version of him, and then when you don't get that, it's, oh, he's horrible. When, I mean, he's still going to give you 20 homers. Like, that's a solid number to be at. Like, I heard what you said on the Sports Bash when you were filling in, and it's completely right. With Kyle Schwarber, he's realistically not going to hit 59 home runs this year. But if he could give you 40 and everyone else does their part, this should be a good ball club.
It should. And I think they can still win 90-some games. What are they going to do in the postseason? That's like the problem every single stinking year.
Deadline move. I'm already thinking to the deadline. Bringing a right-handed hitter that we've been praying for 3 years now.
I still love the Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper asked for a right-handed hitter. I never said that. It's like, who cares if you said it, Bryce? Like, get over yourself.
It's still true. We still need it.
He's Alex Berardis. I'm Josh Hennig. This has been Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Thanks, everybody, for joining the show today. I'll get back to the winners of the texts after the show for all the ticket winners. Coming up the other side, we have the Flyers at 3 o'clock versus the Bruins here on 97.3 ESPN. Thanks to Julio Sanchez III, Josh Popper, both fighting Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City next Saturday, March 7th. Also thanks to Rob Mai of Associated Press, Scott Laughlin from SiriusXM for joining us. And thanks to all of you listening on 97.3 ESPN. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Sunday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein, producer